39 cents a barrel. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much, for taking me out to the park, for reading me books, for taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot in ballet rehearsal,
for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for having the chance to take you to the park, for reading you those books we enjoy so much, for being able to take you to your therapies after you twisted your ankle, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing. And in your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one. Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP. We help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Wake Up Call.
To be honest, I've never seen such dysfunction.
With Holloway in London. On News Radio 1120, KPNW.
Noah is 9 years old. He's not a bad kid. He's just a wild kid.
Jonah is 4. If you have Jonah alone, he's perfect.
When he gets around the brothers, chaos ensues.
He is definitely the instigator. He'll just start anything with his brothers and sister.
Put that down.
And then we have Gabe.
Put that down. It sounds like a case for our next guest. You fell in love with her with the show Super Nanny. Her new show, Jo Frost, Nanny on Tour. It's on Up TV, and she joins us now on the Celebrity Hotline. Nanny Jo, welcome. Oh, sorry. Can you hear us?
Hi.
How are you? Hey, congratulations on the new show and the impending nuptials.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
I hope it's okay to talk about this. It was in an interview, so I assume it was. You're engaged with somebody on the show.
I am, not one of the parents.
No.
Yes, with Darren. He's production manager, and we've known each other. We go back a long way now from the Super Nanny show. And, we have the opportunity to keep moving forward and commit, so it's wonderful.
What's that going to be like? I mean, here you're in a relationship now, and you're spending time with them at work and at home. Well, a lot of your personal time taken up with Darren, so that's going to be a little rough.
Well, no, unknown to popular belief, we all have our jobs. It takes a very dedicated, and I must say, a passionate team at Nanny Jo Productions in making sure we produce and help families, most importantly. So I don't really get to see a lot of Darren because we're all busy doing our jobs. And as you can imagine, I spend hours upon hours in the family home, which is perfect because that's where I need to be. But at the same time, it does mean that we do have, the wonderful opportunity to work together to be on the road. And then obviously, our personal life is our personal life. So it works. It works for us,
Jo Frost on the Wake Up Call. We'll talk about the new show coming up, but let's talk about Jo before TV. You worked in a maternity shop and then started babysitting when you were 18. When did you realize that you had a knack for childcare?
I started very young.
When did you realize you had a knack for childcare and wanted to do this, full time for the rest of your life?
I didn't. I didn't wake up, like one of these animated cartoon characters and go, bing, euphoria, there we go. There's this epiphany of knowing that I'm going to be helping families. I just loved, I loved connecting with children from a young age. I was always interested in, helping families and children, and from babysitting, it led to me becoming a professional nanny, which is a dedicated, integral career, helping many families. And from many years of doing that, I started to consult families from abroad and in the UK, and really placing these troubleshooting areas into a more peaceful state of mind in helping these families get through their challenging times. And from there, I had the opportunity to take it to the next level, really, in using media in a very powerful way in creating these formats and helping so many families. And here we are. It's been a real organic process and journey, obviously, in my life, in what I love to do, which is, you know, my life's mission. So, you know, I love to help. I love to be able to give back with the expertise that I have. And I've had, obviously, many, many years in the field, and it's served these families very, very well. And I'm just happy to be able to have the opportunity to continue doing what I love every day.
Would you say that you got some of your child-rearing philosophies and your talent and skills from your parents? I mean, what kind of parents did you have?
I had parents who were young. They were fun. They had principles and values. I lost my mother at a very young age to breast cancer at the age of 24, which obviously was a real shocker. But I feel that, I think my family had a major impact with respect to the person I am, who I am, my character, my makeup, the integrity. We were taught charity at a very young age. So, I feel that, yes, they've had, a wonderful impact with respect to who I am, as a woman today. But certainly a lot of the techniques that I teach, are based on troubleshooting those areas. And, I wasn't that kid, who was up to mischief all the time. I do remember helping a family get their children off of the binkies, off of the pacifiers. And I remember my father saying, I wish I knew how to do that when you were young, because you took forever. So not everything absolutely came from them. It came from a lot of working experience. But who I am, I have my parents to thank for, being wonderful, having a good balance of being, firm but fair. And, they were very active, they were young parents.
Whether it was the show Super Nanny or the new one, Joe Frost, Nanny on Tour, have you ever come across a kid or children that you had nothing for? I mean, they just were rotten to the core, that you couldn't, with your skills and talent, come up with anything for the parents to combat their behavior?
Oh, that's harsh. Oh, that's harsh. No child is rotten to the core. You know what I see? I see the family you see at the end. I see a child who, to everybody else, might be, like you've just said, rotten, misbehaving. But I see a child in pain, or a child who's not feeling heard, or a child who's not given the opportunity to thrive and to be validated. I see a parent who is frustrated and has gone into auto-parent and actually needs more guidance and reassurance so that they can become more confident. And that's exactly what you're going to see with Joe Frost Nanny on Tour. I'm plowing through America. I'm not just helping one family. I'm helping an entire community. We set up the bus that you see me traveling in. That's my working station. It's my mobile office. I connect with the families through surveillance and Skype, keeping in touch with them as I'm helping other families on the road. I provide a parental clinic, which is public service days to the community in the neighborhood, so that all hundreds of other families come and ask their questions as well. And I've opened up the net with my experience. I've done maternity nursing, looking after newborns many, many years ago. So I wanted to be able to offer help to families that had newborns right the way through to teenagers. And yes, we have difficult times on the show. There's no two ways about that. Parents are learning, and some resist, and some, are more open to your suggestions. And that's not just the children, that's the adults, trust me. So, it certainly was a ride, I can tell you that, this series, with some of the families that we were helping. Some were very resistant and some were more open. And we're going to be talking about controversial issues that I felt were necessary to bring up in America. So it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable for some to watch as well, because it was for me. But I'm not afraid to go there. I think it's important that families are put on the map and we recognize how much time we do need to give our families in order to create more harmony, and to break some of those cycles that can create a lot of dismay.
It makes for good, awkward TV, makes for good TV. Compelling on Thursday nights. Joe Frost, Nanny on Tour. Get up here to the Pacific Northwest. We'll have you in for a breakfast daiquiri.
Sounds Sounds good to me.
All right. Continued success, Joe.
Thank you.
Take care. Joe Frost, of course, of Super Nanny fame, at the new show on the Up Network. 640 News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Sherry's invented Free Pie Wednesday because, well, we love pie. Sweet Montana cherry, Oregon Marionberry made with Northwest fruit, chocolate cream supreme, sour cream lemon pie made with real whipped cream, s'mores galore, and many more. That's why we've won over 25 gold medals at the National Pie Championships. Enjoy a free slice of your favorite Sherry's pie with dinner tonight from 4 to 10 at Sherry's Cafe and Pies.
Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson, real estate investment broker and exchange specialist. Cascade Exchange Services is my choice for completing tax-deferred exchanges. Megan McMahon, who's a CPA, is my choice of the person to handle my tax-deferred exchanges. It's a locally owned company. They do business on a nationwide basis, same-day document preparation, and she's always available for free and very excellent consultation. Contact Megan at Cascade Exchange Services.
If you have old house paint products you want to dispose of properly and you're not sure how, the new statewide collection program, Paint Care, collects unused leftover paint, lacquers, sealers, primers, stains, varnishes, and coatings for recycling. Go online to lanecounty.org/paint or call 1-800-CLEANUP and you can reduce leftover paint by purchasing only what you need. If you have paint and other household chemicals, call Lane County Waste Management at 541-682-3111 for more information. Brought to you by Lane County Public Works and Eugene area radio stations. Ears.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to Mom, but a little over a year ago, we realized she couldn't take care of herself without our help. And well, how could I not be there for her? I had no idea how hard it would be, and just what I would need to know. Things I never thought of, like how to improve her mood, and even for me, ways to stay positive. Luckily, I found the Caregiving Resource Center from AARP. It had articles about the basics that got me started, but also information about the hurdles I was facing in this new role. I could even connect with experts and hear from others who had been in my place. I know this road we're on isn't an easy one, but I'm really happy to have the extra help for her and for me.
Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving. Articles, tips, and tools to help you both care for your loved one and care for yourself. This message is brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have the small bolognese.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk?
Very funny.
KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania in Albany, Eugene, Springfield, and Corvallis. Save like crazy.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, or you're already out on those roads, we've got light rain off and on. We've got a storm system approaching the area. It's moving onto the coast now. We will see moderate to heavy showers by your lunchtime. Otherwise, right now, temps are in the upper 30s to low 40s under mostly cloudy skies and light winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. Now, the heaviest rain looks to be right between noon and about 2 p.m. as the system moves through with its cold front between a quarter and a half inch along the I-5 and maybe a half inch to 3/4 of an inch along the coast. We'll also see the winds pick up out of the south at 15 to 20 with gusts up to 25 as the front moves through. Then this afternoon, the mostly cloudy skies continue with highs in the upper 40s to low 50s out there. We'll see winds shift down to the south at 10 to 15 after the system passes through. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Is your mattress a body magnet? What I mean by that is when you're laying on it, is it just hard to get up? Where you just, it's so comfortable. It's drawing me into its evil vortex. That's the kind of mattress you want. If you have the kind of mattress that actually repels you out of bed, not a good mattress. No, that's a bad thing. You want a body magnet. And you're going to find a body magnet at Sleep Country. You're going to find a magnet that is going to suck you into it, and you are going to be sleeping better than you've slept in years. Particularly if you've got one of those old mattresses that's kind of lumpy, or you get out of it and you can actually see your body indent in it, sort of like Wile E. Coyote at the bottom of a cliff. All right. You know what I'm talking about. So head into Sleep Train, because Sleep Train is going to do a number of things. First off, they're going to save you money. They're going to beat anybody's price for up to 100 days after you purchase the mattress. The other thing they're going to do is they're going to save you money right now on the President's Day sale, which is coming up. I think you need to maybe go in there, put on a powdered wig, and save.
Going on right now. As a matter of fact, your chance to save up to $300 on Beauty Rest Posturepedic. We're talking about great deals on the Beauty Rest Black Hybrid. And of course, if you want to find out about foam and coils, where else can you go? You've got to go to Sleep Train. It's a Sleep Train exclusive, that Black Hybrid from Beauty Rest. We're talking about on approved credit, up to 48 equal monthly payments required. 4 years interest-free going on. And that same-day delivery, of course, it's your ticket to a better night's sleep. In Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem. And tell them you're like this with the wake-up call. Sleep Train.
I won't mention any names, but their initials are
Holloway in London. The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
14 away from 7 o'clock. Did you, upon your travels, see anything kind of a carryover from the crash near Philomath?
No. Nope. It was a very quiet, sedate, dark drive into work like usual. Very pleasant. No weather issues, no wind, no rain. Not even a whole lot of traffic, really.
Highway 20 between Eddyville and Blodgett. You have a summer home in Blodgett, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
We got a detour set up on 180, but 2 miles east of Burnt Woods. We salute you with a closure on Highway 20 at milepost 35. So just know that is what you have to contend with if you take 20 in or 20 out. Everything else kind of reporting nicely. Junction City, of course, Territorial Elementary closed today because of the power outage. I think this is like a rolling power outage. Mm-hmm. It's on tour. It was Fern Ridge yesterday, today.
Right. Now it's
Junction
playing
City.
in Junction City.
And just to kind of backtrack, routes 39 and 45, if you are a bus taker or know somebody that takes a bus in the Philomath School District, due to that crash, they're going to have delays. Route 39 will be unable to transport students beyond milepost 35 on Highway 20. So hopefully you kind of know the milepost in which you take the bus in if that's you. 100% chance of rain today, 48 for the temperature high. Pretty wet today and tonight. Less wet tomorrow, and then shaping up Friday as we head into the weekend. I'll say right nice. A fairly decent weekend on the horizon. So maybe, just maybe, this would be the weekend that you head up and play in the snow or get some yard work done. Or take the dogs out.
Or dog, depending on whether you have one or two. You have two, so you would be taking the herd out.
You're a stickler today.
It's a small herd.
You have a dog.
Yes.
But you could go find some other dogs and make it plural and make a whole party. Make a whole Super Bowl dog party.
Wander around door to door. Can I walk your dog? Hey, you got a dog? I want to take it out for a walk. And nobody would be suspicious of that. I think you should do it. It's funny, it's interesting. We're talking about dogs, then you brought up the Super Bowl. About 2 years ago, we had a dog that just wandered up on our porch on
during the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Probably wanted to watch the Puppy Bowl.
The poor thing was just, had been, left out or abused by its owners or whatever.
I wonder why it picked your house.
I have no idea. Probably because they used to pick our house when I was a kid.
So it's you. You're the dog whisperer.
Mm-hmm.
What, did you find the home?
No, couldn't find the home for it. Ended up at the Humane Society, and hopefully it found a nice home. Cute dog. You know, it had long hair, but it was just matted in chunks of stuff in it. And it was just, I felt so bad for it. Actually, when I was growing up, grew up out in the country. And people used to like to take their dogs out and dump them off in the country, figuring, oh, we'll dump them off in the country because they'll be able to survive here. So we'll just dump them off in the country. Yeah. Somebody actually dumped off a Shetland pony one time.
What?
No kidding. We had a Shetland pony. I got up one
Did you
morning.
see somebody dump it, or did it get out on its own?
Nobody around there within several miles had any Shetland ponies. So I get up one morning, and I go outside, and it's like, there's this Shetland pony out in the middle of the yard. Like, where did this come from? Anyway, yeah, people used to dump their dogs, and we would end up trying to either find their owners, which you never could because they were dumped, and so you would end up taking them out to what they called the Humane Society in Salem, which essentially they would hold the dog at that time. Okay, we're talking a while ago, would hold them for 3 days, and then they would gas them. And I hated that place. So because I knew that anytime we took a dog there...
So why did you take the dog there?
What were we supposed to do with him? Keep them all?
Well,
this was
find
something...
a home on your own, maybe?
Well...
I mean, you're Bill London, the circle that you travel...
You can only find so many homes in the neighborhood for dogs. And a lot of them, some of them were older and stuff, and it was just, and it was a constant thing. It wasn't like, it happened once or twice. I mean, it was dozens upon dozens of times. And a couple of times we were, was able to adopt them. I took a lab puppy that I wanted to keep so bad out to this old farmer that lived a couple of miles away that used to have a dog, and I knew the dog had died, so I took the puppy to him and said, hey, look, a free puppy. And he accepted it. The one, though, we had one that wandered up one time that had a note on it that just simply said, give this dog a good home. It's a good dog. And I flipped the note over, and it was written on the back of a envelope for DHS. I'm not kidding you. And so I looked at that. I looked at the dog, and I think it was probably about 13, 14 at the time. And I went, I'm going to call the newspaper. So I called this lady that did a local column in the newspaper, and I said, I have an interesting story for you. And I told her, and she actually printed it. She printed the story about this dog, and that, this note, please find me a good home and love me and so on and so forth, was written on the, on a DHS, on the back of a DHS envelope, which they had crossed the name out of. And she put it in there within 2 hours of the paper coming out that morning. And we had set it up to where they would call her and she would pass them along to us. This woman came out and adopted the dog from us, but wanted the note because the note was, to her, a big part of the story. So there you go. The dog, I'm sure the dog, because you could tell immediately when she picked the dog up, is like, okay, this is going to be a doting pet parent all over.
Start your affinity for DHS at an early age?
Yeah. No, it was, I didn't like that part of country life because there were so many. Every one time one of those dogs would wander up, I would want to keep it.
That is every day in Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. I don't know how many. We found our dogs on the side of the road. After hunting season, they just let them run loose. Very sad. All right. Hey, Craig Chiquiso from Jefferson Starship fame, going to talk about his friend Paul Kantner, in case you missed it, just passed. Actually, and we'll talk about it, Signe died as well on the same day. So we'll talk about that. Coming up in hour number 2 on 1120 KPNW. Going to be wet today right now, 42 degrees.
Get ready to satisfy your sweet tooth. That's right, it's chocolate giveaway time at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. This February, get a premium box of chocolates for every 1,000 points. Offer good while supplies last. Visit threeriverscasino.com for all the details. Then on Valentine's Day, let Cupid hit you with a cash arrow at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. Join us on February 14th for our Sweethearts Hot Seat drawings. Every hour from 3 till 10 p.m., you could win a share of $6,000 in cash and free play. Visit threeriverscasino.com to find out more. Let us show you the love with cash and chocolate giveaways at Three Rivers Casino Resort and see why things are luckier here.
Wildlife, boating, fishing, camping, and more. 43rd Annual Eugene Boating Sportsman Show is back at the Lane County Fairgrounds Friday through Sunday, February 5th through the 7th. Get up close and personal with the Great Bear Show's 400-pound giants. Meet Gold Rush star Dakota Fred. Revel in Tough Shed's Ultimate Man Cave. See the hottest wake surfing boats, kayaks, SUPs, and accessories. Seven Feathers Big Game Room features record trophies and head and horns competition. See the latest products, hunting and fishing guides, ammo, giant fish tank, and more. For kids? There's the Pepsi Live Trout Pond, archery range, shooting gallery, climbing wall, and the zip line. Jody Smith and Dan Clore had an impressive list of speakers in the Sportsman's Theater. Enter to win a Gold Quest adventure with Dakota Fred, a guaranteed trailer, and buy 'em outdoor prizes. The first 100 adults will win a free scratcher from the Oregon Lottery. And every adult patron will get a subscription to Northwest Sportsman magazine. Take advantage of low show prices on all the latest model boats at Lane County's premier boat display and sale. All of this at the KEZI Boating Sportsman Show, Lane County Fairgrounds, presented by Bimart, February 5th through the 7th. See you there.
I'm Gary Conley with today's Money Minute. There's a fundamental conflict between antitrust and patent law. Antitrust statutes are meant to prevent monopolies, while patent protection grants a temporary monopoly to inventors. Both sets of laws are a mess, but that's a story for a different day. For now, there's nowhere this conflict is more apparent than in technology's newest big thing, handheld devices, like smartphones, e-readers, and tablet computers. Each of these gadgets touches thousands of patents, so companies developing and marketing them have unleashed a torrent of lawsuits, some to protect their intellectual property, others to simply slow down competitors, and still others attempting to extract a rich stream of royalties or licensing fees. Often part of the strategy is to cry foul to the federal government under the antitrust laws. Here's the nugget. Intellectual property and patents are not actually the most important element in the success of high-tech companies. Speed is. The pace of innovation and incremental improvement is such that if you secure a piece of genuine intellectual property or a portfolio of patents, you better act quickly to harness and improve them, or you will get run over by someone moving at warp speed who will. Try to remember all this if you decide to place a bet on something whiz-bang. I'm Gary Conley, and that's today's Money Minute.
You know the Tannerite Sports Outlet carries Tannerite brand exploding targets, but Tannerite here in Eugene is so much more. Reloading supplies, tactical gear, magazines, accessories, and if you're worried about finding ammo, Tannerite has bulk quantities of the most popular calibers that'll keep you shooting affordably. Need it and can't find it? Tannerite staff is going to help you locate it, even if it's something they don't carry. Yes, Tannerite's the home for exploding targets, but from tactical gear to ammo, it's the Tannerite Sports Outlet, just off I-5 across from LCC.
Do you have 30 minutes a week to make a difference in the life of a Eugene student? Join the Eugene Middle School Lunchtime Mentor Program. Be a friend. Support a middle schooler this year. Visit 4j.lane.edu/volunteers for more information.
It's the latest wake-up call market news. This is the KPNW Business Report.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are rising in early trading as energy producers rebound with oil, while investors weigh corporate earnings amid reports from more than 24 members of the S&P 500 today. Right now, the Dow is up 77 points, or almost 0.5% at 16,229. The S&P 500 is up almost 8, or 0.4% at 1910, and the Nasdaq is up 16 points at 4532. Shares of Yahoo are down just over 2% after CEO Marissa Mayer unveiled the latest turnaround effort, saying she'll cut about 15% of the staff, close some offices, and also consider putting the company's core assets up for sale. Meyer told Bloomberg Television that the company has set itself up for future growth.
Over the past 3.5 years, in the face of a lot of legacy headwinds from our existing revenue, we've built new lines of revenue that we refer to as the Mavens: mobile, video, native, and social.
Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg.
We report, you decide. This is News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield, USA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Rand Paul is taking an exit off the road to the White House, dropping out of the race after a disappointing finish in Iowa. Fox's Jared Halpern live in Des Moines.
A fifth-place finish here in Iowa for Senator Rand Paul. He will now focus on re-election in Kentucky and winning a second term in the Senate. Paul jumped in early in the GOP field, but failed to break out of the pack. Single-digit polling kept him out of one main stage debate. Paul's departure follows the Monday night exit of former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Democrat Martin O'Malley has also ended his presidential bid. Dave.
Jared, the other 10 Republicans and 2 Democrats are meeting voters across New Hampshire.
You demand that you get to meet us face-to-face, eye-to-eye, multiple times. You get to ask us questions.
Chris Christie's counting on a strong finish in next week's primary. Marco Rubio is hoping third in Iowa propels him.
People are frustrated and they are angry because they know that what makes America special is slipping away.
But Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders have big leads in the New Hampshire polls. Congress is holding a hearing into Flint, Michigan's lead contaminated water crisis.
This isn't supposed to happen here. We're not some third world country where you get 100,000 people who get poisoned.
Government broke it. Government must fix it.
Republican Jason Chaffetz and Democrat Elijah Cummings. Flint residents will testify, and so will Michigan's top environmental regulator. They're cleaning up tornado damage in areas of the South.
Just thankful. Everything's okay. I got a few shingles off the house, but we're okay.
She and everyone else survived in Pickens County, Alabama. There was also damage in parts of Tennessee and Mississippi, but no major injuries. Areas from Colorado to Minnesota got buried by a foot of snow, a blizzard in some areas. Another of the almost daily attacks near Jerusalem has left 3 young Palestinians dead, shot by Israeli security forces. The 3 were carrying automatic weapons and explosives and knives near the Damascus gate and opened fire first, wounding 2 female officers, 1 critically. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Hey kids, let mom help with your science project.
This new mom wants her kids' science project to thrive. Too bad she hasn't cracked a science book since 1985.
A metathesis reaction?
Compounds, mixtures, and elements. Even this baking soda volcano is too big of an experiment. Whoa. Now she's completely forgotten the periodic table. Now she's burning a hole through the kitchen table. Burning with science. But her kids' love for their mom is truly transparent. Proof you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Don't tell Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
It's calmer on Wall Street, but there is a little bit more selling this morning. Fox Business Network's Nicole Petalides live at the New York Stock Exchange.
Stocks on Wall Street just turned negative after weak U.S. manufacturing data was just released at 10 a.m. With that, the Dow had been up over 100 points at one point this morning, but right now down 24 points at 16,128. The Nasdaq Composite down 31 and the S&P 500 down 7. All 3 of the major averages are to the downside. The Nasdaq's down more than 0.5%. We're seeing financials lagging. We're also seeing some big movers today. Chipotle to the downside as the investigation continues there. We're seeing Ford Motor eliminating hundreds of jobs and General Motors' fourth quarter profits surge. These stocks are all lower today. Dave.
Thank you, Nicole. Stocks are rising and rather falling, even though oil prices are going back up nearly $1, close to $31 a barrel. Gas is down a little more. AAA's national average for regulars $1.78 a gallon. The Denver Broncos and Carolina Panthers keep prepping for Sunday's Super Bowl, but one Bronco reserve has been sent home.
The Broncos sending practice squad player Ryan Murphy home after he was caught in a prostitution sting at a San Jose Motel 6. Murphy and his brother were found by cops with a prostitute inside a car outside the hotel. The rookie safety was not charged, but his brother was cited with solicitation. Rick Suter watched it all from the gas station he manages next door.
All of a sudden we had black vans, people in suits and all this kind of stuff mulling around with these sheriffs and everything.
Broncos coach Gary Kubiak releasing a statement announcing that the team decided to send him back to Denver to avoid distractions. It comes the same day Eugene Robinson, who was infamously caught with a prostitute the night before Super Bowl 33, addressed the Panthers about avoiding his experience. Chris Honig, Fox News.
Another football note, former Raiders star quarterback Ken Stabler had the brain disease known as CTE. It's been widely investigated lately related to concussions. Boston University researchers say the damage was quite severe in places. Stabler died last year of colon cancer. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
7:05 News Radio 1120 KPNW with the wake-up call. 100% chance of rain today, 48 for the temperature high. More rain throughout the night, 41 for the low. We're at 44 degrees at KPNW. Situation, Junction City got the Territorial Elementary closure today. The lone closure. Philomath School District has some bus routes, 39 and 45, experiencing delays because of the crash, which is up Highway 20, milepost 35, 2 miles east of Burnt Woods. They have a detour between Eddyville and Blodgett. It's amazing. That's one of those situations where you've got one crash and it's just a domino effects. I mean, we had one here in town last week with some power outages and things affected. One thing, crash, and then 2, 3, 4, just kind of cascade. So just know Highway 20 got a closure there at milepost 35. And while we're talking about it off the air, we were waxing about yesteryear. Just a hats off to, if you are a man or a woman, even if you don't do it, it's not the way that you bring in, it's not your livelihood, but you've got a farm. And you go out there and you work the farm. Maybe you do your day job, your town job, and you come back and you're out there on the tractor or doing whatever you do. You got livestock or animals. The wake-up call is saluting you today because you probably don't get a lot of attention, a lot of acknowledgement, but just to know that you're out. We might not have even visited, Bill or myself, your establishment, but we're saluting you and saying and appreciating what you're doing. I
thumbs up to the small farmer.
I love it. I love hearing stories and hearing what people are harvesting and what they got going, and it's pretty cool. Coming up, Craig Giachiso from Jefferson Starship fame and his own bands. I mean, the guy is immensely talented. Started doing music when he was just a wee one. We'll talk about the loss of Paul Kantner for Craig and what he, just some memories and kind of go down memory lane. Also, Dr. Michael Grosso, the man who could fly. It's Grosso, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You can say Grosso.
As soon as I said that, I realized the man who can fly is...
He can't fly.
He can't fly.
No. But he knows somebody who did.
Wow. So. All right. News coming up as well. What's working?
Oh, well, gee, your legislature is in session. What do you think? How do you think that's going to work out for you? Do you think it's going to cost you any more money to live here in Oregon now that the legislature's... Of course it is. It's the way that it always goes. So we'll tell you what the considerations there are. We'll also take a look at what's happening over in eastern Oregon with the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge, with the investigation into the shooting death of Lavoy Finicum, and, of course, the Bundys, who are in jail up in Multnomah County that say they want out. Those stories and more coming up here on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
708.
In the morning, when you're on the run, stop and eat at Burrito Amigos. One of Burrito Amigos' little-known facts is that you can get the Burrito Amigos breakfast platter. Once you've ordered it, you need to start making decisions. Are you going to have bacon, link sausage, chorizo, or chili verde? And how are those eggs going to be cooked? Over easy, scrambled, kind of hard, sunny side up, or some other way? Then you wait a minute or so, and it's all served up with potatoes, cheese, beans, and corn tortillas. Once someone smiling delivers the Burrito Amigos platter, it's breakfast on. It's a quick, tasty, inexpensive sit-down meal. It's only $7.50, or do it meatless for $6.50 if you want to get all vegetarian first thing in the morning. Since their name is Burrito Amigos, a big old breakfast burrito isn't out of the question, with your choice of bacon, sausage, chorizo, machaca, or huevos rancheros in junior or adult size. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I vote adult, the large one. It holds more bacon. Burrito Amigos in Springfield and Eugene. Stop and eat breakfast. I'm Bill London, Burrito Amigos fan, and I approve this message. Sherman Brothers Trucking is looking for drivers, company drivers, and owner-operators. Flatbed, tanker, lowboy, curtain van, and dump truck. Great benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and paid vacation. Sherman Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1969 and runs regionally with good home times. Sherman Brothers prides themselves on the quality of their drivers and the service the company provides. Excellent training and quality management will help you reach your goals. Check out ShermanTrucking.com for more details or call 800-457-1459.
Here's something I'll bet you didn't know. St. Vincent de Paul sells more used appliances than anyone in Lane County. That's because we pick up good used appliances, refurbish them, guarantee them, and sell them at low, low prices. So if you're looking for a good reconditioned appliance, check with us first. We're St. Vincent de Paul, where you can always have some fun, save some money, and do something nice for your neighbors. St. Vincent de Paul, we're in the phone book.
This message is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul in association with Eugene area radio stations. Ears.
Today's top stories. In depth. This is the Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Cliven Bundy, the father of Eamon Bundy, has sent a letter to the Harney County Sheriff, Governor Brown, and President Obama, telling them the occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge will continue. Through his attorney, Mike Arnold of Eugene, Eamon Bundy is telling them to end the occupation.
Because of the restrictions of solitary confinement for 23 hours per day, I have not been able to speak to my father. I am requesting that the 4 remaining protesters go home now, so their lives are not taken.
Bundy remains in the Multnomah County Jail while his attorney collects more evidence to use in a detention hearing where he'll argue for his release on home confinement. The judge allowed Joe O'Shaughnessy, who was arrested with Bundy, to go free. However, the judge ruled Pete Santilli still has to remain in jail because he's considered a potential threat. Despite last week's release of FBI aerial video showing the shooting of a Malheur National Wildlife Refuge occupation participant, no more information on the incident is likely to be released for 4 to 6 weeks. That's according to the Malheur County prosecutor who is leading the investigation for Harney County. The Deschutes County Sheriff's Office was asked by OSP to lead the investigation into the officer-involved shooting on January 26th in Harney County that left 54-year-old Lavoy Finicum dead in a snowdrift. Malheur County District Attorney Dan Norris stated all pertinent reports are going to be released to the public when the investigation is complete. Now, Harney County officials are also rejecting a resignation call from a group referred to as the Pacific Patriots Network, and also said they have no authority to detain FBI officials or agents involved in the fatal shooting of Lavoy Finicum or to kick out the FBI, which all things were demanded by the group. The Harney County Court released a statement saying they're aware of a letter of intent issued by the PPN. That letter demands a response, but it's unclear whom the response is requested and to whom the response should be provided. Officials say neither the Harney County Court nor the Harney County Sheriff has any authority to remove the FBI from activity on federal lands within Harney County, particularly in light of the continuing occupation of the facility there. The recommendation of use of a federal negotiator, however, is being followed. Local businesses beware. This is a new one. Los Patrios Mexican restaurant on Crescent Avenue in North Eugene was broken into early Monday. Now, that's not such a big deal. Happens all the time It was just the way these particular thieves entered into Los Patrios. They essentially broke through a wall. They went into an empty rental space next to the establishment and literally, broke their way through into the restaurant's bar.
Well, just pretty much family owned, just family working here, and this stuff that happens to us, just makes it harder.
Business owner Teo Ramirez says the thief stole cash from the office and cash registers, thousands of dollars worth of liquor, some iPads, watches, even tools. Total value of the theft around $30,000, most of which will be covered by insurance. They don't know, and they just want to get the place fixed and maybe beef up security.
Well, right now we're just getting the alarm installed pretty soon, but at this time, I don't know, it can happen again, I guess.
Eugene police are investigating the break-in. A man from Wales pleaded guilty to sex crimes committed against a 10-year-old local girl. Gareth Vincent Hall entered guilty pleas Tuesday to rape, sodomy, and online sexual corruption of a child. Under a plea deal, prosecutors agreed to drop a kidnapping charge. Hall's attorney says the agreement calls for Hall to be sentenced to between 25 and 50 years in prison. Authorities say Hall met the girl through an online chat program, then traveled to Eugene to see her. They say Hall took her to a motel during his 5-day visit before he headed back to the United Kingdom. He was later arrested in May as he was trying to re-enter the U.S. at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. So the governor's proposed increase in the state minimum wage is being opposed by counties that say it's going to cost them too much, and they won't do it. Brad Ford has the story.
Lynn County Commission Chair Roger Nyquist told lawmakers it's against the Oregon Constitution to pass an unfunded mandate, and the proposed increase in the minimum wage would cost them nearly $2.5 million a year.
If you pass this minimum wage program and you don't fund it for local government, it's our interpretation that Lynn County doesn't have to participate.
Grants Pass City Councilor Roy Lindsay says that if their costs go up, they have only one option to pay for it, with cuts elsewhere.
Local governments will have to reduce services to compensate for that rise.
The mandate only applies to bills passed by the legislature. If voters approve a minimum wage increase, all Oregon governments would have to comply, but the added cost without increased revenue would likely require cuts. Brad Ford, News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Well, Lane County is lobbying for more dollars. Government and Legislative Affairs Manager for the county, Alex Kyler, who happens to be Lane County's lobbyist, testified in support of House Bill 4093. Now, it would allow counties that want state funding to improve or repair their courthouse to be able to add surcharges to cover for, the costs. The bill would increase parking, traffic, and boating violation penalties by up to $5, and the county could increase filing fees by up to 15%. Kyler points out that the fee may make funding a future courthouse easier for the county.
What we think in Lane County is that folks, the reliance on the property tax, which is sort of a broad tax, that some people may say, geez, I've never stepped foot in the courthouse. Why do I have to pay for it? And knowing that, those people who actually use it are paying for it as well may help them with that future vote.
The fees attached to citations would be retained by county governments. The surcharges on civil filings would be transferred to the state and then doled out county by county. Speaking of Lane County commissioners are sending another property tax measure to county voters. It's a levy that will show up on your May ballot. It would fund the Oregon State University Extension Service in Lane County, at least in part, for certain services. The 5-year levy would cost about 1.5 cents per thousand of assessed value. So if you had a $300,000 home, it would cost you about $3 a year. The levy is projected to generate about $2.25 million over the 5-year period. The OSU Extension Service money would restore 4-H programs in schools, and it would allow them to charge less for those programs. OSU Extension also offers courses in gardening, farming, food preservation, along with a variety of other programs and services. So, Oregon taxpayers would pay to attract more small-scale solar projects to the state. That's under another bill being considered by lawmakers. Brad Ford has the details.
Oregon legislators are considering a bill that would spend around $6 million to attract contractors to build solar arrays. Bill Eddy with Oregon Energy Renewal says other states are increasing solar power projects with similar programs.
This bill will really give us the expertise and the founding to look at much bigger projects.
These projects range in size from 2 to 20 megawatts and could be located throughout the state.
It's going to spread some of that economic development around.
The project would be capped at 150 megawatts, and the projects would have to be completed within 2 years. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
So tax filing season is here, and the Oregon Department of Revenue is reminding Oregon taxpayers to claim their kicker surplus on their 2015 personal income taxes. So this year, $402 million is going to be refunded to eligible taxpayers in the form of a tax credit. Remember when you used to get the check? Not anymore. Joy Krozik with the Oregon Department of Revenue says even some eligible taxpayers may not see that particular money.
The state can use all or part of the money you would get from the kicker based on the credit if there's any outstanding state debts overall.
Those debts include things like back taxes, child support, school loans. To be eligible for the credit, you must have filed a 2014 Oregon return with tax owing before credits. The Revenue Department has a new What's My Kicker tool on their website to help determine the amount of your credit. The legislature changed the way that the kicker is doled out. Part of the expectation, likely, is that many people won't know about filing for the kicker, and therefore the state will get to keep the money. Senator Ron Wyden and Earl Blumenauer, a representative from the Portland area, along with several other senators and representatives, hosted an industrial hemp expo Tuesday at the U.S. Capitol, bringing together policymakers and entrepreneurs in the movement to restore industrial hemp to U.S. agriculture. The expo, which was held in Washington, D.C., sounded like a big deal, except it only drew barely 100 visitors, including television personality Montel Williams and former CIA Director James Woolsey as keynote speakers. One of the showcased products was a business from Eagle Point, Natural Good Medicines, which makes products using industrial hemp. Hemp is used, actually, in thousands of products around the world, but because it's classified as marijuana under the Controlled Substances Act, even though it is non-psychoactive and has no use as a recreational drug, its cultivation is prohibited in the U.S. Go figure. Heads Up football, the Heads Up football program is coming to Oregon high schools. Brad Ford says it's already being taught to younger players.
The research on concussions in the NFL has led to the Heads Up program to make the game safer. Brad Garrett with the Oregon School Activities Association says it's easy to explain to players.
The most fundamental way to tackle is you see what you hit. Your head is up.
That prevents players from leading with their head down. Each OSAA member school will send one player safety coach to get the training, who will then teach other coaches.
Teaching kids how to tackle properly, how to block properly.
In 2008, the OSAA became the first high school activities association to prohibit same-day return for a player with a suspected concussion. Brad Ford, KPNW.
The average price of gas in Oregon is $2.01 a gallon. Prices haven't been that low in 7 years. Marie Dodds with AAA says at this point they've given up predicting how low the prices are going to go.
The glut of crude oil in the global marketplace and the relatively low demand for gasoline this time of year should continue to put downward pressure on pump prices over at least the next few weeks.
The national average is $1.79 a gallon. California has the most expensive gas at $2.57. Gas is cheapest in Missouri at $1.49. Well, the arts reign supreme in Eugene. The city is one of 10 communities in the state taking part in what's called the Arts and Economic Prosperity 5 study. It measures the economic impact of nonprofit arts and cultural organizations and their audiences.
We partnered with Americans for the Arts to demonstrate that this business is a strong economic driver in the city of Eugene.
Tina Rinaldi is the managing director for the University of Oregon Arts and Administration program. She says the study's done every 5 years. Back in 2010, during the recession, the survey showed that arts was a $45.6 million industry in the Eugene area, supporting over 1,700 jobs and raising over $2.5 million in local and state revenue. So
The big question is, how are the numbers put together? According to Rinaldi, that's exactly why they're doing the study.
It tracks like what refreshments or meals are you having associated with going out to an art event? What souvenir and gifts are you purchasing? What clothes or accessories did you purchase? What was your ground transportation cost? Did you have related child care costs? Was there overnight lodging associated with going to an art event?
The 2010 numbers show that there was a fairly good drive of revenue for businesses in the community. They hope that the post-recession 2016 data shows an upturn in economic impact of the arts in the Eugene area. Let's look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Today is signing day in college football, and the Oregon Ducks are hoping there's no surprises, unless maybe a good one comes down the pike. Pretty stocked at quarterback, even with the loss of Morgan Mahalik, who's leaving the program. Dakota Prukop transferring from Montana State, four-star talent Terry Wilson, and in-state sleeper Sheldon's Justin Herbert. Ducks are hopefully going to sign U.S. Army All-American running back Vavai Malapai, although he is having second thoughts, visiting USC over the weekend. Thoughts and memories of DeAnthony Thomas come to mind, and he came to Oregon. We'll keep fingers crossed. Wide receivers Tristan Wallace, Dylan Mitchell, tight end Cam McCormick, all expected to sign in. At one point, Oregon had the number 7 recruiting class in the nation, up to number 20. The steals and the hopeful players: 5-star linebacker Caleb Kelly, 4-star defensive end Connor Murphy, who Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh spent the night with. Maybe Mark Helfrich needed to make a road trip. 4-star, 6'8", 280-pound Prince Salmons, all on the probably not going to get list, but it would be a great steal. Portland Trailblazers had their first 5-game win streak of the season. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks 107-95 behind a 30-point performance from C.J. McCollum. In L.A., Kobe Bryant scored one more point than his age with 38 points. Lakers snap a 10-game skid. And Dwight Howard of the Houston Rockets gets suspended for swiping the arm of an official. And former Oregon State safety and Denver Bronco practice player Ryan Murphy was questioned by San Jose police in connection to a prostitution sting. Coach Gary Kubiak said he's out, will not be even practicing in preparation for the Super Bowl. That's a proud Beaver Nation you hear sighing. Wake Up Call Sports on 1120 KPNW. News time 7:26.
Weather every 10 minutes during the Wake Up Call. Count on it. News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, or you're already out on those roads, we've got light rain off and on. We've got a storm system approaching the area. It's moving onto the coast now. We will see moderate to heavy showers by your lunchtime. Otherwise, right now, temps are in the upper 30s to low 40s under mostly cloudy skies and light winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. Now, the heaviest rain looks to be right between noon and about 2 p.m. as the system moves through with its cold front between 1/4 and 1/2 inch along the I-5 and maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch along the coast. We'll also see the winds pick up out of the south at 15 to 20 with gusts up to 25 as the front moves through. Then this afternoon, the mostly cloudy skies continue with highs in the upper 40s to low 50s out there. We'll see winds shift down to the south at 10 to 15 after the system passes through. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Hi, everybody. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute, brought to you by Builders Electric, providing smart electrical service since 1960. Without a doubt, one of the most perceptive persons in our world's history was Helen Keller, who, even though blind for her entire life, once said, "I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. I will not refuse to do the something I can do." Do you think you're handicapped in some way? Even so, what are the things you do well? You can still do those things, and even if they are only a few, you can still do them. So do something, and definitely don't refuse to do the things you can do well. This is Don Essig with today's Motivational Minute. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a positive day.
Today's Motivational Minute was sponsored by Builders Electric, voted the Register Guard's 2015 Reader's Choice #1 electrical contractor, providing positive service for over 55 years. That's Builders Electric, CCV 4296.
Sherry's invented Free Pie Wednesday because, well, we love pie. Sweet Montana cherry, Oregon Marionberry made with Northwest fruit, chocolate cream supreme, sour cream lemon pie made with real whipped cream, s'mores galore, and many more. That's why we've won over 25 gold medals at the National Pie Championships. Enjoy a free slice of your favorite Sherry's pie with dinner tonight from 4 to 10 at Sherry's Cafe and Pies.
And now for a message from Gerber Life Grow Up Plan. Attention parents and grandparents, do you want to help give your child a great financial head start in life? You can. For just pennies a day now, you can give them $10,000 in whole life insurance that doubles to $20,000 at no extra cost during age 18. Later on, regardless to their health or job, your child has the right to buy additional coverage at adult rates, providing total coverage of up to $100,000. The Grow Up Plan also builds cash value you can borrow from. Low childhood rates that lock in for the life of the policy, benefits that double, plus the right to add more. That's security and valuable protection from Gerber Life, a name known and respected for generations. Get started now. Call Gerber Life Grow Up Plan at 800-372-4043. That's 800-372-4043, or visit us at mygrowupplan.com. Remember, it costs you just pennies a day now. For free information or to sign up now, call 800-372-4043. Gerber Life Insurance Company, White Plains, New York 10605. Policy Form Series GPP 12. Policy Form ICC 12 GPP. The Grow Up Insurance policy contains terms which may affect the benefits provided. Please contact us for costs and details of coverage. Interest rates apply to any policy loans.
Portland 2016, the most prestigious sporting event ever to be hosted in the state of Oregon. The IAAF World Indoor Track and Field Championships are coming to Portland March 17th through 20th, 2016. More than 600 of the world's greatest track and field athletes from as many as 200 countries will compete over 4 days. 26 world champions will be crowned, and you can be a part of history. Tickets are on sale now at portland2016.com.
Sponsored by T-Mobile, changing the game in wireless. Why wait? Switch to the Un-carrier today. T-Mobile.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave, but remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. Find out how at heart.org/bloodpressure. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of you or your families. Asking you to put yourself in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep you secure for the rest of your life. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that. Cool! That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, don't look at me. I didn't invite them.
The Wake Up Call with Holloway in London on News Radio 1120. KPNW.
When the truth is found to be lies, know the joy within you dies, don't you?
7:32 News Radio 1120 KPNW. Shortly, hopefully, versing a bit with Craig Giachiso. Boy, pick a title of a band. One of those bands that just kind of had many different personnel and different monikers. Of course, and we'll talk about this, kind of a cool tie-in with Craig. Paul Kantner, who just passed on January 28th, he's the one who discovered Craig Giachiso as a 16-year-old budding guitarist, and just kind of opened the door for a litany of rock and roll legends and an incredible career. By the way, CraigGiachiso.com, if you are kind of interested in rock and music as a whole, and Giachiso is CHAQUICO. He's done a bunch of jazz, big in New Age. He's one of those guys that can just about play any type of music. And hopefully we'll chat with Craig.
Maybe. We'll wait. We'll wait to see. Will we get him? Will we not? I would like somebody to do the economic impact of legislative sessions on the state of Oregon and its citizens. You know, originally, and the Republicans are right about this, originally when this short session was rolled out for voters, well, we need to do it so we can take care of economic issues, and it'll be very short. We'll just deal with economic issues and emergencies and roll on. And what they've done is they've taken all the things that they kicked the can for in the last legislative session, which was the long one, like, say, minimum wage and increasing corporate taxes, gun control, all these different things now, and they're going to pack them into 35 days, which means that the chance for hearings on these things and the length of the hearings and the actual debate and the public input on it is going to be limited to basically 30 days. So they're doing this as fast as they can. But I would like somebody to just sit down and say, okay, how much extra, after the legislative session is over, how much extra is this going to cost taxpayers and residents of Oregon? And just do a just do some rudimentary math, put it together, and then show Oregon's taxpayers how much this legislative session is going to cost them. We already know that they're going to spend several $1 million to bring these small-scale solar projects to Oregon. There's no way that's not going to pass. All right, they're going to do that. They're also working on, apparently, even carbon credits. Okay, how much is that going to cost you at the pump? All right, how much money is it going to cost when, if they adopt this so-called business activity tax, which they've been very vague on? How much is that going to? I would like somebody to do the math. How much it actually will end up costing Oregonians and taxpayers after all the things have been enacted by the legislature after it's happened. 735 KPNW.
Well, I tell you what, it has not been a good start to 2016. The loss of music greats David Bowie, Glenn Frey, late January, Paul Kantner, and Craig Giachiso joining us on the Wake Up Call, who is, we think, kind of neighborhoods. Aren't we from your neck of the woods?
Indeed, we are. I'm just down the road in Ashland, Oregon, and my son's up there going to school with you all right now. So, yeah, we're neighbors. Turn your damn stereo down. You guys are always playing that music too loud.
That's awesome. Well, we know you're. We're on a limited time schedule because you got a lot of people to talk to, but we wanted to talk with the passing of Paul, and I talked about this earlier on the show about him. I think there's a special part in your heart because, if I understand right, I mean, he pretty much discovered you at the age of 16. Is that not the story?
Indeed it is. I was playing lead guitar in a local band in Sacramento, California, and my English teacher, of all people, heard me play and asked me to join his band. So at the age of 14, I'm wearing a fake mustache, lying about my age, playing with a lot of musicians. And what I didn't realize is that there was kind of a famous songwriter that Paul Kantner and Grace Slick were fans. They became famous. So I guess the English teacher was famous. I didn't know that. I just figured I get to play music and wear a fake mustache and my English grades are going to go up if I'm in a band with this guy. But Kantner heard me play because he wanted to hear my English teacher play. So Trailer wrote songs that Paul Kantner and Grace Slick used on their solo albums, and they figured, well, and I already know the songs, just let me play them. So I ended up playing on all these records with them while I was still in high school, and then right after that, Paul and Grace did a tour where they invited me to play lead guitar in Jefferson Starship, and my band with my English teacher opened the show, so I put on tour in the opening band and Jefferson Starship, and then right after that, Paul and Grace asked me to record Dragonfly with them, and that was the first Jefferson Starship record, and if it wasn't for Paul, having seen me play years before while I was in high school, and Paul actually let me borrow a Stratocaster that I played in high school, so I was the only kid in his bedroom with the door locked, practicing guitar Jefferson Airplane stenciled on it, and it was authentic. So,
very cool.
Paul did in that way pluck me right out of
Quickly if you would, throw a shout out to that teacher and the name of the band that you were in at that time when you opened for Jefferson Starship or Airplane.
Goodness, yeah, it was Jack Traylor and Steel Wind, and we had a record deal on the Jefferson Airplane label, and we opened for Jefferson Starship in between opening for King Crimson, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and the Doobie Brothers in Chicago, and Linda Ronstadt, and all. We would every other night we'd open for Jefferson Starship, and then I'd do double duty. So if it wasn't for Jack Traylor and the fact that he was such a great lyricist and folk singer himself, I never would have been in Jefferson Starship because Paul was a fan of my English teachers before Paul was famous. So Paul, somehow connected the dots and invited me to be in the band, and I feel like now I've lost my older brother that I always had fun getting in trouble with. Paul was that guy. He was the mischievous older brother that was just so much fun to hang with, and now a member of the family's gone on to the other side. So it's a little sad, but yeah, Jack Traylor and Steel Wind. That was part of what got the ball rolling for me.
You started kind of talking about it, but I feel like, Paul, there was a lot of the other names, even you yourself, getting a little bit more of the limelight, the spotlight, people talking about what kind of person was he, in addition to being, your kind of older brother. Talk about Paul, who's been described as the brains behind the show.
Well, I think Paul really did have a lot of input in the band. I mean, no one but Paul would have decided to put a band together like the first Jefferson Starship. That was probably my favorite lineup. They were all famous. I can't say that. It's like, which kid do you like the best? They were all great. But Paul, like you said, being the brains behind it, or as he would put it, the lack of brains. He always joked about that. But because I say that because what person with brains would have said, hey, I got an idea for a band that's going to sell millions of albums. Here's the formula that Paul had in his mind that nobody would have bought into. He said, well, I'll get this hippie guitar player from Sacramento, California that listens to a lot of Jimi Hendrix, and I'll get an English bass player from England who played with Rod Stewart, and I'll get a drummer that played in the Turtles and Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and then now in Jefferson Airplane, and I'll put them together with some Jefferson Airplane alumni and Quicksilver Messenger Service lead singers, and I'll have a band with a bunch of lead singers and a bunch of guitar players and a bunch of songwriters. And, one more thing. We'll add an older gentleman, a black violin player, and put Grace Slick in that. And do you think anybody would have taken that seriously? I mean, that is the most wacky idea, but who thought of it? Paul Kantner. So that was the guy that put together that first lineup of all of us that made all those first multi-platinum hits. And I say that not to brag, only to say how wacky that is, and only Paul would have thought of that. So yeah, he was the brains behind it.
Yeah, it kind of worked. It kind of was successful.
No one's more surprised than we are that it worked. But yeah, it did work, I guess.
Looking at the day as a whole, I was surprised to see that. January 28th, not a good day for the alums, as Signe died, and I believe she was up here in Portland. If I'm not mistaken, she lived in the Pacific Northwest as well. Have you guys had kind of a convergence, like a get-together or anything like that? Any kind of communication where you guys are just kind of banding together? I know, everybody's doing their own projects, but did you guys kind of communicate in any way?
Well, I did do something up here in Oregon a couple of years ago for Signe and with some of the alumni, but really Signe was before my time. I came on board with Grace when Grace Slick was the lead singer, but I know everybody had a lot of great memories and experiences with Signe, and again, it's weird for her and Paul, who were the original members of Jefferson Airplane, to both pass at the same time on the 28th, which was also when the space shuttle blew up, and I kind of look at that symmetry. With Paul Kantner being such a space science fiction fan, he won a Hugo for a rock and roll album, and a Hugo, that's like an Academy Award or a Grammy for science fiction, writers, and he was that kind of guy. He was very science fiction oriented, so it's really cosmic, like you said, that they would leave at the same time. And when you use the word convergence, it trips me out because now there is a literal. I'm not getting all New Age on you, but there really is an astronomical event where a lot of there's like 5 planets lining up at dawn. It's just astronomy as much as astrology, but scientifically, that's what's happening, and it is considered a convergence. And I was thinking there's 5 of us left from the original band, that did all those hits with Paul. That crazy lineup that he put together. There's only 5 of us left, and there's 5 planets in the sky now when Paul passed. And I just feel like it's almost like when I heard that he left, I felt like there was a new star in heaven with Paul, and that if I just went outside and played my guitar under the Milky Way here in the Pacific Northwest, I would be playing with Paul. And I feel that way now, that if I go outside now and play at night with these stars above me and Paul out there in the new, it's just another octave. The planets, everything is very mathematical and rhythmic, and they always talk about the music of the spheres and all of that. Well, Paul's part of that concert and band in the sky right now. He's just another octave. We can't quite hear it, what he's hearing now, but we can still hear the music he made here. And when you said that about the convergence and the planets, I realized he passed with those 5 planets in the sky, and I'm thinking with the 5 of us left, there's another convergence again this summer. And I would love to just start talking to the rest of us that are grateful not to be dead, and see about maybe doing something like that. Maybe we can all get together and do something for Paul, because he was the guy that started it. He was the brains, and he's still with us. He's just on the other side of the horizon. Someone made an interesting analogy on my webpage about a sailing ship, how you can see it coming, and you see the sails, and you enjoy it while it goes by, and then it disappears over the horizon. But somebody else on the other side is watching it come again, and it's starting a whole new cycle. And, in that way, Paul is just on the other side of the Milky Way from us right now. And, just on the other side of the horizon. So maybe there'll be a way that we can all, be grateful for him in some sort of musical way.
We have a question. We have another guest that's lined up here because we got late getting into this, but I wanted to ask a quick question off the email. One of our listeners was at the Altamont concert and saw Marty, and this is according to the email, get cold-cocked by the biker mayhem that ensued as Grace tried to calm the crowd by riffing, "If you're going to blank, blank, but don't blank around." He wants to know, is there a recording of that?
Well, I was at Altamont too, but I wasn't in the band yet. I was one of those guys out in the audience. And if there's not a recording of it, I certainly have heard those words uttered a few times, and I think there's more to it. I think when one of the Angels knocked out Marty, I think Marty called them a mother blank, and when Marty came to, the Hell's Angel felt really bad. And he said, "Marty, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to hit you, but nobody calls me a mother blank." And Marty said, "That's okay, you mother blank." And then the guy hit him again. These are the stories that I get to hear secondhand. Even though I was at Altamont, I was on the other side of the stage, but I got to hear it firsthand from the people that were there.
Craig, if you come up and see the Offspring at the University of Oregon, we'd love to have you in studio. We'll share a breakfast daiquiri with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, you guys. Thanks so much for making me feel so welcome. And here's to Paul and all the music that you got started for all of us.
A fitting tribute that you did, for sure. Craig Giachiso, by the way, CraigGiachiso.com. It's a great website. 747, News Radio 1120 KPNW. With that...
And we're rolling into the next one. All right. We got totally stacked up with that interview running late. And we have with us now on the air live is Michael Grosso. He is a Ph.D. He's just written the book, The Man Who Could Fly, St. Joseph of Cupertino and the Mystery of Levitation. Sorry that we were late getting into the interview here, Michael, but we appreciate you waiting.
Oh, that's okay. I was listening to your conversation about music.
All right.
No problem.
Okay, so let's just get right into this. Briefly, give us a little bit of sort of your resume, and we'll get into it.
Well, I'm interested in the nature of the mind. Okay, my training is in philosophy and in consciousness research, and I got involved in studying this case of levitation because the documentation was so extraordinary, I realized that this is a phenomenon that most people have never heard of or hard to take seriously, even though it's all over in the folklore of the world and the literature of the world. But this case of the 17th century was very well documented, and I decided to look into all of the evidence and, explore this point. And the reason is it has enormous implications for our understanding of the human mind. And it just shows that we have latent, because, after all, if one person could do it, it's not just one person. There's a whole history. Just the Catholic Church has about 200 case histories on record of saints and other people who were reportedly could levitate. But the case of Joseph is emphatically well documented, and that's why I focused on it.
Okay, so for folks that don't know, Saint Joseph was known as a mystic with an array, I guess, of supernatural powers. Like you said, there are lots of documentation. And I guess the question here is, first off, before we go any further, do you believe that he was able to levitate? Do you think that he actually did it?
Well, I after looking at all of this evidence and reviewing the possible explanations, I could not come up with any argument that would dispose of this evidence. So I'm strongly inclined to believe that this is a genuine phenomenon. And moreover, there are cases that I've investigated leading up into the 1990s. And so it's not like it's one person, and it's not that rare, although it is definitely quite rare. So yes, to answer your question, I don't, put it this way, I can't think of a way to explain this stuff away.
Okay.
There's just too many witnesses, and too powerful the evidence.
Okay, so you say that you've investigated cases going well up into the 1990s. Have you talked to any of those folks that you believe have levitated, and have you actually been able to see anybody manage the feat?
Yeah, well, the last case was a witness of two people that were in a Spanish church, and they witnessed a nun who was at prayer suddenly rise up. One of the persons who witnessed this fainted. So that's the case I was referring to. I have spoken to two people who claimed, living individuals that I've met, who claimed to witness a levitation, and one person claimed to have the levitation. But I was not there, and the story may be true, but I don't count it as compelling evidence, merely a suggestive anecdote.
But why do you? Why do you suppose it is? Because you pointed out, in particularly the Catholic Church. Why is this something that is, well, I don't know, Catholic-based as opposed to, how come you're not seeing Presbyterians levitating? Or, why the Catholic faith as opposed to others?
Well, for one thing, the Catholic faith has this tradition of legalism, where whenever something extraordinary happens, they have to put it to the test, and they go through a trial. And if the evidence is compelling, then, they say that. If it's suspect, they're very, very critical. The Church is not in the business of promoting miracles for the sake of miracles. So there's a legalistic tradition in the Catholic Church. There may be other reasons, psychological and spiritual, why it is more found in the Catholic Church. It may be that in the Catholic Church there's more ascetic practices than in the later Protestant tradition. But I have to say, it's not only the Catholic Church. There are reports in Tibetan Buddhism, yogis have reportedly levitated, shamans, mystics from all different traditions. You have the lore and the belief, and occasionally a story, but you don't have that legalistic emphasis on eyewitness sworn testimony as you have in the Catholic Church. So that would be the best way that I can reply to your question.
Did you go
why the Catholic Church?
Did you go into this particular topic and this particular study, with kind of the open scientific mind of, okay, I'm not here to prove or disprove, I'm just here to figure out? Or were there any preconceived notions that you walked into this with, saying, okay, I kind of believe this could happen, let's take a look at it? What was your initial approach to it? Were you the skeptic or the believer to begin with?
No, I'm not a believer. I'm very skeptical, and I'm not even particularly religious as such. I'm interested in the nature of the mind. My whole interest is in the potentials of the human mind, and I have been studying a variety of other phenomena in other traditions, and then I came across this story. Actually, an Italian novelist gave me a copy of the biography of Joseph from 1722, and that got me going. I started to read it, and I said, wow, I want to really look into this. So, no, my attitude has been strictly evidence-based. I have no predisposition to accept these things automatically on faith. Far from it.
All right. I'm sorry that we got into this late because we only scratched the surface. It's a fascinating book, and it goes into more than just what we have talked about here. The Man Who Could Fly, St. Joseph of Cupertino, The Mystery of Levitation by Michael Grosso, who is with us on the show here. We have to go, Michael, but we appreciate you joining us. Thanks for waiting so patiently, and have a great rest of your day. Good luck with the book published by Roman and Littlefield.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking with you.
All right. Now. And by the way, you can find out more. You can go to consciousness-unbound.net for details. 7:55 now. President's Sale is coming up on Sleep Train Mattress Centers, and, it's President's Day weekend is a great time to buy a mattress. Don't just take our word for it. Go on in and check it out, where you can save $300 on a Beauty Rest or Posturepedic. And this week, right now, through President's Day, you can get up to 4 years interest-free financing on Tempur-Pedic and Beauty Rest Black hybrids. The Beauty Rest Blacks are awesome mattresses. One of our coworkers, Chino, down the hall has one, and he raves about it. Of course, he has the one that he can pre-program with his smartphone, which I don't know what you would pre-program on but I mean, you can do the adjustable base and stuff so that when you walk in, it's all ready for you. It amazes me what we use technology for. So it's the latest in sleep technology. You could say that from Sleep Train.
Check them out in Eugene, Springfield, Corvallis, and Salem, and tell them you like this with the wake-up call. It really is your ticket to a better night's sleep. Sleep Train.
Get ready to satisfy your sweet tooth. That's right, it's chocolate giveaway time at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. This February, get a premium box of chocolates for every 1,000 points. Offer good while supplies last. Visit threeriverscasino.com for all the details. Then on Valentine's Day, let Cupid hit you with a cash arrow at Three Rivers Casino Resort in Florence. Join us on February 14th for our Sweethearts Hot Seat drawings. Every hour from 3 till 10 p.m., you could win a share of $6,000 in cash and free play. Visit threeriverscasino.com to find out more. Let us show you the love with cash and chocolate giveaways at Three Rivers Casino Resort and see why things are luckier here.
It's radio you can watch. The Wake Up Call with live video streaming from the Widmer Brothers studio every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 9. Go to KPNW.com and click on the Wake Up Call streaming banner. The Wake Up Call and Widmer Brothers, the local guys.
Whether it's new or recycled office furniture, Oregon's most respected office furniture dealer is Office Furniture Direct in Portland, selling furniture throughout the state. Office Furniture Direct has clients up and down I-5 and is making trips into Eugene every month and can be your source for the best price and finest installation. Save money on quality office furniture at Office Furniture Direct at ofd-pdx.com.
All the rest hit, all the rest fits. Office Furniture Direct.
Hi, Mike here with some info on West Eugene. Did you know there are over 400 businesses on West 6th, 7th, and 11th? Yeah, 400. You'll find stores galore to spruce up your home. From cabinets to carpeting, furniture to flooring, lighting to landscaping. Maybe it's time to splurge on a comfy new mattress or a soothing hot tub. Perk up your place with new paint or pillows. Treat yourself and your home by heading over to West 6th, 7th, and 11th in Eugene. Go West, home improvers. Go West.
It's your money. And this is your Wake Up Call Market Report on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks accelerating their declines. A report today showed services industries expanded in January at the slowest pace in nearly 2 years. The services slowdown comes as investors are watching for signs that weakness in China is spilling over. General Motors reporting quarterly profit that beat analyst estimates. Strong light truck sales in the U.S. and China helping to boost margins in both regions. The company finished the year with record net income of $9.7 billion for 2015. Comcast added more video subscribers in the fourth quarter than in any quarter in the last 8 years. The company gained 89,000 cable TV subscribers in the quarter. After Martin Shkreli raised the price of a life-saving drug more than 50-fold to $750 a pill last year, sparking public outrage, he said he wasn't alone in taking big price hikes. As it turns out, the former drug executive was right. A survey of about 3,000 brand-name prescription drugs found that prices more than doubled for 60 and at least quadrupled for 20 since December 2014.
Depend on us for breaking news from the local neighborhood to the global one. We are News Radio 1120 KPNW, Eugene, Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony.
It's been an honor to participate in the 2016 Republican presidential primary.
But Rand Paul is no longer running, dropping out of the race after a distant finish in Iowa. Fox's Jared Halpern live in Des Moines.
A fifth-place finish here in Iowa, and lagging poll numbers and other early contests spell the end for Senator Rand Paul, ending his campaign this morning on a video to supporters.
It has been a privilege to give voice to the liberty movement in this race, and I believe we have broadened the debate by being part of it.
Paul ran an underdog bid, often the outsider on foreign policy and national security issues when it came to things like NSA surveillance and American military intervention. He'll now focus on trying to win re-election in Kentucky, where he is running for a second Senate term. Dave.
Jared, the other candidates have 6 days before the New Hampshire primary. The water crisis in Flint, Michigan, the subject of a hearing in Congress.
I never thought this could happen in America in this day and age.
Democratic Michigan Representative Brenda Lawrence looking for answers on how to fix Flint's lead contamination. Residents are also testifying at the House hearing. President Obama's left the White House, headed to Baltimore to make a controversial first visit as president to a mosque in the U.S.
The controversy about this mosque centers around a former imam in Baltimore who did have ties to the Muslim Brotherhood in his past life. He left the mosque in 2003. The same former imam, after he was there, went on to preach at a mosque that had been home to Anwar al-Awlaki, the famed leader of al-Qaeda in Yemen.
Fox's Leland Vittert.
The mosque is eating this up ahead of the president's visit. They put out a press release saying, quote, the visit comes during a time of increased violence against the American Muslim community.
Sell-off on Wall Street. The Dow down 60 points after a report showing the slowest growth in 2 years among services businesses, including retail, healthcare, construction, and financial services. Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
Attention business owners, now's the time to save with the Comcast Business Switch and Save event. Call 800-501-6000 now to get 30% off the regular price on the speed you need to download files faster, send large email attachments, process credit card transactions, and more. You'll get fast 25 megabits per second internet for just $69.95 per month when you add phone and TV, our lowest price of the year. But hurry, this offer ends soon. Afraid switching will disrupt your business? With our no-glitch switch, you can choose your installation time, days, nights, even weekends. Plus, you get our 30-day money-back guarantee. Don't miss the Comcast Business Switch and Save event. Get 30% off internet plus our no-glitch switch. Call 800-501-6000 now. Offer ends 3/31/16. Restrictions apply. Limited to one voice line and private view TV for new business customers with 2-year contract. Equipment, taxes, fees, including broadcast TV fee extra.
As Rand Paul drops out of the Republican presidential race, other candidates are out stumping in New Hampshire this morning.
We should adopt a simple flat tax where every American can fill out our taxes on a postcard.
Ted Cruz a few minutes ago looking for a big boost from his Iowa win. Marco Rubio's strong third-place finish has Chris Christie going after him.
Because Marco gets protected every day. His staff circles him. They don't let the press ask him questions. He does 40-minute town hall meetings. Man, 40 minutes, I'm just getting warmed up.
Rubio says he's had plenty of questions he's answered over the months. Donald Trump has a big lead in the polls in New Hampshire. Bernie Sanders also has a big edge in the Democratic race there. Yet another Palestinian on Israeli attack turns deadly. Fox's Jessica Gallagher live in Jerusalem.
Dave, it's the latest in an uptick in violence here that began in mid-September. 3 Palestinians from Jenin in the West Bank carrying explosive devices, knives, and automatic weapons were shot dead by Israeli security forces in the Old City. The violence took place outside of Damascus Gate. Israeli paramilitary border police officers say they noticed the men who aroused suspicion. When one of the trio was asked for his ID, the 2 others drew guns and knives and attacked 2 female officers. One is in critical condition. Dave.
Jessica, there's a sentencing hearing this morning in New York for David Sweat, one of 2 inmates who escaped from a prison last June, hiding in the woods for 3 weeks till Richard Matt was shot and killed and Sweat was recaptured. Clinton County DA Andrew Wiley testified this morning.
Obviously caused a trauma, caused anguish, caused fear to the citizens here in Clinton County, not only in Clinton County, but Franklin County, Essex County, New York State, and probably the United States.
Sweat's already serving a life sentence before getting sentenced in the escape. And as stocks drop, oil has risen sharply in the last hour. It's up more than $1, over $31 a barrel. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News Radio.
All right, we got rain in the forecast today. 100% chance of the wet stuff with 48 temperature high. 90% chance continuing through tonight. 50% tomorrow. Currently 43 degrees. We've got a crash 8 miles north of Veneta. Highway 200. Milepost 11.86, I believe, territorial. 8 miles north of Veneta. Crash has occurred, causing no delays. If you want delays, it looks like Highway 20 delays, but it is not closed like it was. Westbound lane now affected. Still a detour between Eddyville and Blodgett. Using 180 up there. Again, Highway 20. A situation over in the Salem area. Highway 22, milepost 4, the westbound shoulder affected with a crash out there. So if you see anything that we are not discussing that might affect the other 14, get us a call or an email. Let us know. We'll pass it on. Day 3 of the grilled cheese experience. Places like the Beer Stein, Cornbread Cafe, Party Downtown, the Washburn Cafe, Wild Duck. 18 restaurants in all. And if you go to our website, KPNW.com, you can get a list of the 18. And it's kind of cool because you can get a passport. And as you go to, say, 10 restaurants, get them checked off and you'll be in for a GoPro. You get a stamp from each restaurant, collect 10 or more, and you'll be in there for a GoPro. They'll be giving that away. Also, an Instagram contest up for grabs. A couple of passes to Chef's Night Out coming up in April. And that's a good, if you're a foodie, that's a must. That is a good time. You don't walk away from the Holt Center hungry on that particular evening. Lease Wheel coming up. We'll also talk about the Affair of the Heart as we get closer to that big event happening on the 11th at the Lane Event Center. Got another doctor to come in and talk about the keynote subject that they'll be talking about on the 11th. News, too.
Yeah, we'll have these stories. Well, your legislature is back in session. Let's everybody get out our calculators and see how much it's going to cost us this time. We'll also tell you what's happening over in eastern Oregon at the Malheur County National Wildlife Refuge and in Multnomah County, where a number of the occupiers are sitting in cells, wishing they weren't sitting in cells. Those stories and more coming up, brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones here on KPNW.
News time 8:08.
New Year's resolutions generally fail, and they fail because they aren't fun. So here's a resolution that's easy to keep. If you've never done it, make this the year you visit Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. How hard is it to keep this promise to yourself? I resolve to eat at least one Burrito Amigos bacon breakfast burrito with 2 types of bacon. As Burrito Amigos' biggest fan, I intend to do this at least weekly. Resolve to have an Audibata experience and try some on a torta. Tasty stuff. Or, if you're of the vegetarian persuasion, promise yourself this year to try a yammy taco with yams and a special secret recipe spicy guacamole. If you're going that route, the Amigos rock the potato taquitos. And their tofu burritos have tofu. So keep this promise to yourself. Visit a Burrito Amigos. And this year, you'll make a new friend. A new friend who'll cook and clean up the dishes. That's a friend. Burrito Amigos in Eugene and Springfield.
The Hometown Advantage. It's up and down Main Street. It's also in the office downtown, the factory by the river, and the farm down the road. That's because most folks who work here love living here. They care about this community. They work hard to succeed, and that makes a difference. At EugeneHelpWanted.com, we're proud to work our Hometown Advantage around the clock, connecting local employers to local job seekers. Post your job today on EugeneHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work. The Hometown Advantage. You see it in the shops and offices downtown, in our factories, schools, and farms. Jet the accountant has it. So do Corey in IT and Amber, the vet tech. They found local jobs at EugeneHelpWanted.com. It's where local employers find local workers like you, people who care about this community. Search jobs and apply online right now. Get the advantage of finding a job close to home at EugeneHelpWanted.com. Local jobs that work.
It's the big happenings in the Valley and the state. This is the Wake Up Call on 1120 KPNW with Bill London.
Good morning. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones, featuring great breakfast burritos and fresh brewed locally roasted coffee for a tasty start to your morning. Here's what's going on. Cliven Bundy, the father of Eamon Bundy, has sent a letter to the Harney County Sheriff, the governor, and even President Obama, telling them the occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge will continue. Although Eamon Bundy, who is sitting in a cell in Multnomah County, is telling the folks to end the occupation through his attorney, Mike Arnold.
Because of the restrictions of solitary confinement for 23 hours per day, I have not been able to speak to my father. I am requesting that the 4 remaining protesters go home now, so their lives are not taken.
Bundy remains in the Multnomah County Jail while Mike Arnold collects more evidence to use in detention or in a detention hearing where he will argue for the release on home confinement. The judge allowed Joe O'Shaughnessy, who was arrested with Bundy, to go free. However, the judge ruled Pete Santilli has to remain in jail because he's considered a potential threat. Despite last week's release of FBI aerial video of the fatal shooting of a Malheur National Wildlife Refuge occupation participant, no more information about the incident is likely to be released for at least 4 to 6 weeks, according to the Malheur County's prosecutor, who is leading the investigation for Harney County. The Deschutes County Sheriff's Office was asked by the Oregon State Police to lead the investigation into the officer-involved shooting on January 26th in Harney County. It left 54-year-old Lavoy Finicum dead in a snowdrift. Malheur County District Attorney Dan Morris stated all pertinent reports will be released to the public when the investigation is complete. Harney County officials also rejected a resignation call from the Pacific Patriots Network and also said they have no authority to detain FBI officials or agents involved in the fatal shooting of Lavoy Finicum or kick out the FBI, all which were demanded by the group. The Harney County Court released a statement saying that they are aware of a letter of intent issued by the Pacific Patriots Network. That letter demands a response, but they say it's unclear from whom the response is requested and to whom the response should be provided. Officials say neither the Harney County Court nor the Harney County Sheriff has any authority to remove the FBI from activity on federal lands within Harney County, particularly in light of the continuing occupation of a federal facility. Well, local businesses beware. There's a new way to break in. Los Patrios Mexican restaurant on Crescent Avenue in North Eugene was broken into earlier this week. Now, that's not necessarily a rare thing. It was how the thieves chose to break in. They went through an empty rental space next to the establishment and literally bashed their way through a wall right next to the restaurant's bar.
Well, just pretty much family owned, just family working here, and this stuff that happens to us, just makes it harder.
Business owner Teo Ramirez says the thief stole cash from the office and cash registers, thousands of dollars worth of liquor, some iPads, watches, and tools valued at almost $30,000. Most of those losses will be covered by insurance. As to a fear of whether it will happen again,
well, right now we're just getting the alarm installed pretty soon, but at this time, I don't know, it can happen again, I guess.
Eugene police are investigating the break-in. The thieves apparently caught on surveillance video. A man from Wales has pleaded guilty to sex crimes committed against a 10-year-old local girl. Gareth Vincent Hall has entered guilty pleas to rape, sodomy, and online sexual corruption of a child. Under a plea deal, prosecutors agreed to drop a kidnapping charge. Hall's attorney says the agreement calls for Hall to be sentenced between 25 and 50 years in prison. Authorities say Hall met the girl through an online chat program, and then he traveled to Eugene to see her. They say Hall took her to a hotel during his 5-day visit before heading back to the United Kingdom. Hall was later arrested in May as he was trying to get back into the U.S. at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. The governor's proposed increase in the state minimum wage is being opposed by counties that say it's going to cost too much. They won't do it, they say. Brad Ford has the story.
Clinton County Commission Chair Roger Nyquist told lawmakers it's against the Oregon Constitution to pass an unfunded mandate, and the proposed increase in the minimum wage would cost them nearly $2.5 million a year.
If you pass this minimum wage program and you don't fund it for local government, it's our interpretation that Lynn County doesn't have to participate.
Grants Pass City Councilor Roy Lindsay says that if their costs go up, they have only one option to pay for it with cuts elsewhere.
Local governments will have to reduce services to compensate for that rise.
The mandate only applies to bills passed by the legislature. If voters approve a minimum wage increase, all Oregon governments would have to comply, but the added cost without increased revenue would likely require cuts. Brad Ford, News Radio 1120 KPNW.
So Lane County is also getting involved in the fun in Salem. Government and Legislative Affairs Manager for the county, Alex Kyler, also known as Lane County's lobbyist, testified in support of House Bill 4093. Now, what that bill would do would be to allow states seeking, or make that counties seeking funding to approve or replace a courthouse to be able to add surcharges to cover a portion of the cost. The bill would increase parking, traffic, and boating violation penalties by up to $5, but filing fees could increase by up to 15%. That's a pretty nice chunk of dough. Kyler points out that this fee may make a new courthouse in Lane County's future easier to do.
What we think in Lane County is that folks, the reliance on the property tax, which is sort of a broad tax, that some people may say, geez, I've never stepped foot in the courthouse. Why do I have to pay for it? And knowing that, well, those people who actually use it are paying for it as well may help them with that future vote.
The fees attached to citations would be retained by county governments like Lane County. The surcharges on civil filings would be transferred to the state and then doled out county by county. Lane County commissioners, speaking of the county, are sending another property tax levy to county voters. It'll show up on the May ballot. It would fund some of the activities of the Oregon State University Extension Service in Lane County. The 5-year levy would cost about 1.5 cents per thousand of assessed value, or $1.50 if you have a $100,000 property, $3 a year for a $200,000 property. The levy is projected to generate about $2.25 million over the 5-year period. The OSU Extension Service money would help restore 4-H programs in schools and charge less for 4-H youth programs. OSU Extension also offers courses in gardening, farming, food preservation, along with a variety of other programs and services. So, Oregon taxpayers would be on the hook to attract more small-scale solar projects to the state under a bill being considered by lawmakers to pay them to come here. Brad Ford has the details.
Oregon legislators are considering a bill that would spend around $6 million to attract contractors to build solar arrays. Bill Eddy with Oregon Energy Renewal says other states are increasing solar power projects with similar programs.
This bill will really give us the expertise and the founding to look at much bigger projects.
These projects range in size from 2 to 20 megawatts and could be located throughout the state.
It's going to spread some of that economic development around.
The project would be capped at 150 megawatts, and the projects would have to be completed within 2 years. I'm Brad Ford, KPNW.
Tax filing season is here, and the Oregon Department of Revenue reminds you to claim your kicker surplus on your 2015 personal income taxes. This is different from other kickers because the legislature wanted it this way. Essentially, it makes it more difficult for you to receive the kicker, making it easier for them to keep it. This year, $402 million will be refunded to eligible taxpayers in the form of a tax credit. Joy Krausick with the Oregon Department of Revenue, though, says even some eligible taxpayers may not ever see the money.
The state can use all or part of the money you would get from the kicker based on the credit if there's any outstanding state debts overall.
Those debts include things like back taxes, child support, and school loans. To be eligible for the credit, you have to have filed a 2014 tax return with tax owing before credits. The Revenue Department has a new What's My Kicker tool on their website to determine the amount of your credit. Well, the Heads Up football program is coming to Oregon high schools. Brad Ford says it's already being taught to younger players.
The research on concussions in the NFL has led to the Heads Up program to make the game safer. Brad Garrett with the Oregon School Activities Association says it's easy to explain to players.
The most fundamental way to tackle is you see what you hit. Your head is up.
That prevents players from leading with their head down. Each OSAA member school will send one player safety coach to get the training, who will then teach other coaches.
Teaching kids how to tackle properly, how to block properly.
In 2008, the OSAA became the first high school activities association to prohibit same-day return for a player with a suspected concussion. Brad Ford, KPNW.
The average price of gas in Oregon is $2.01 per gallon. We haven't seen prices that low in 7 years. Marie Dodds with AAA says they don't know how low it'll go.
The glut of crude oil in the global marketplace and the relatively low demand for gasoline this time of year should continue to put downward pressure on pump prices over at least the next few weeks.
The national average is $1.79 a gallon. California still has the most expensive gas at $2.57 a gallon. The cheapest in the nation is Missouri, $1.49. It's 8:20. This look at the news brought to you by Burrito Amigos, the friendly ones. You're up to date from KPNW.
Wake Up Call Sports on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Today is signing day in college football, and the Oregon Ducks are hoping there's no surprises. Unless a good one comes down the pike. Pretty stocked at quarterback, even with the loss of Morgan Mahalik, who is leaving the program. Dakota Prukop coming in from Montana State, and four-star talent Terry Wilson, in addition to in-state sleeper Sheldon's Justin Herbert. Ducks are looking like they're not going to get U.S. Army All-American running back Pavai Malapei. There's word is that he is going to sign with USC. Two sources, this is unofficial, reporting that he went to USC over the weekend and had a change of heart. So it looks like Malapei will not be a Duck. Bad news. Huge. Wide receivers Tristan Wallace, Dylan Mitchell, tight end Cam McCormick, still expected to become a future Duck. But at this point, to repeat the top story, Malapei appears to be going USC. Other question marks? Hopefully, maybe, possibly. Doubtful, though. Five-star linebacker Caleb Kelly, four-star defensive end Connor Murphy, who Jim Harbaugh had a sleepover with, and four-star 6'8", 280-pound Prince Sammons out of Cincinnati would all be great additions. Blazers have their first 5-game win streak of the season. Blazers did in the Milwaukee Bucks 107-95. C.J. McCollum with 30 points. In L.A., Kobe scored one more point than his age with 38 points. Lakers snap a 10-game skid by beating the Timberwolves 119-115. And former Oregon State safety and Denver Bronco practice player Ryan Murphy was questioned by San Jose police in connection to a prostitution sting. Coach Gary Kubiak said he is done and will not practice in preparation for the Super Bowl. And all too often there are stories in sports with no scores or athletic performances attached. This is one of these stories as Mercer senior guard Jabri Bryan shot and killed in Macon, Georgia. He leaves a 2-year-old child behind, was only 23 years of age. It's a wake-up call on KPNW. News time 8:23.
KPNW weather brought to you by Mattress Mania in Albany, Eugene, Springfield, and Corvallis. Save like crazy.
Good morning. We're tracking a storm system moving into the area as I speak. Now we've got light rain out there under mostly cloudy skies. Winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. And we do have temps in the upper 30s to low 40s. The bulk of the energy looks to move through right during your lunch hour between noon and about 2 p.m. We're expecting anywhere between a quarter and a half inch along the I-5 corridor and a half inch to 3/4 of an inch along the coast. Winds will also jump to the south at 15 to 20, gusts up to 25. But once we see the system move through after lunch, we'll start to see the mostly cloudy skies continue. Highs will shoot into the upper 40s to low 50s, and the winds will come down out of the south at 10 to 15, maybe a few more gusts after that. We are tracking actually very nice weather for the end of your weekend into early next week as high pressure moves in, bringing us sunny skies and warm temps, but between now and then, a couple of storm systems. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Mark your calendars, get a babysitter, gather up your girlfriends. It's time for the 13th year of Affair of the Heart. It's Lane County's premier women's event. You've been balancing a busy life and you deserve a night off. What could be better than fashion shopping, martinis, free samples, and great health and wellness information? The 13th annual Affair of the Heart on February 11th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the Lane Event Center. Find us on Facebook or go to theaffairoftheheart.com for details. See you there. Sponsored by Mackenzie Willamette Medical Center.
Are some rooms hot while others are cold? Is mold an issue? I'm Josh from Josh Lowe's Dr. Energy Saver. We'll provide a free home comfort and energy evaluation. Find the causes of these problems and fix them. Call Josh Lowe's Dr. Energy Saver today at 248-1173. That's 248-1173. Or online at OregonEnergySaver.com.
Josh Lowe's Dr. Energy Saver. We fix uncomfortable homes.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom49.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom49.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 49.com. Go to freedom49.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom49.com.
I'm a firefighter.
A teacher.
I'm a farmer. I'm a barber.
A waitress. A mom.
We're all part of your community. Every day we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life. It's when you experience a moment of uncertainty.
Something or someone's behavior that doesn't seem quite right.
These are the moments to take a pause.
Because if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not.
It's not about paranoia
or being afraid.
It's about standing up and protecting our communities.
One detail at a time.
Because a lot of little details can become a pattern.
We
trust our instincts.
Just like you should.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties.
Please stand by.
The Wake Up Call on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
It's Bill playing the ethereal guitar. Yeah, now I'm going to start to rock. Yeah, there you go. News Radio 1120 KPNW. It's 8:27. Kind of gray out there this morning. And welcome to Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, it is traditional that we chat with Fox News legal analyst and author Lise Wheel, who is now on the wake-up call. So, have you made it to the top of the New York Times bestseller list with your new tome?
We're not quite there, but come on.
How far are you away from the top?
Your show. You can make your listeners out there do it. Who's the guy that I've been talking with, Gary?
No. Oh, you're talking about from Cycle Parts, Rod.
Rod. Okay, Rod. Come on, Rod. Go out and buy some books. This is a little too tough, right? I'm like, I can hear the arm thing twist.
Yeah, he's sitting down at the motorcycle shop right now, giggling to himself. I'm sure.
Come on, Rod, go buy some books. Tell your friends.
Probably thinking to himself, "All right, should I go buy the book?"
Yeah.
He actually has read a couple of your books and he likes your writing style.
See,
he has told me that.
Go.
So. Well, yeah, you need to have Rod for your next book. You need to get Rod from Cycle Parts to actually write something for the dust cover.
You know what I did? I'm not even kidding you. And we always get distracted on this kind of stuff, but I asked my mom in Yakima to talk to her lady friends there because she's got a readers club every Thursday. And I am not kidding. Those ladies figured out how to put something on Amazon. They read it and they talked about it in their readers club. And these ladies are tough. If they don't like something, it doesn't matter that you're me from Yakima. They don't care. And they were so nice. So nice.
Oh, well, see, look at that. You're getting the nice little ladies from Yakima. I'm actually talking about Rod doing something on the dust cover. Where it just says, Rod from Cycle Parts says, and then his review of your book. I think that would be awesome.
Let's hope he says something nice. He could say something horrible. That's the thing is you never know. When you ask people to write a review, it could be great or it could be not so great.
Well,
and then you feel worse.
Okay, if they write a not so great one, would you actually be willing to put it on your dust cover?
A not so great one. Well, that doesn't really sell books so much. No, I probably wouldn't do that. No, probably I want to get all the great ones. But what I do is when I go on Amazon, I read everything. And so if there's one that says like a 2 or a 1, I'm kind of crying. It's like, what was so bad about it? What did I do wrong? So it just, it's like anything else in life. What you look at is it's nice to get praise, but then when you see the stuff that's mean, you go like, oh, gee, maybe I should have been better about something.
Okay, Lee. So somebody has probably asked you to write one. How honest on a scale of say 1 to 10 are you when you write such?
10, because I don't accept. Yes, I've written blurbs before, many, but I don't write unless I've actually read the darn thing from cover to cover. And I tell people I will not, I'm not going to give you something you're not going to use, but I won't take it unless I like it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes sense. All right, so let's get into a topic. San Francisco. Okay, let's talk about the kids at the mostly white Catholic high school in San Francisco.
Right.
They were suspended because they had a weekend party where some of the kids wore clothes. I like the way that it's worded, to mimic a style associated with urban black culture. So in other words, they're wearing their pants down around their ankles, etc.
All that kind of stuff, yeah.
The school's president, the president of St. Ignatius, I like saying that, told parents in a letter that it was appropriated pervasive negative stereotypes. The question here, I guess, is, is there anything? Are these kids actually facing any legal ramifications? Is there any rule or law that was broken here, other than maybe, some rule at the school that says you have to act like a nice kid?
Off campus. Because the big question is, this was off campus. It was not something that was done or sanctioned by the campus. And if I were the parent's lawyer for the kids, I would say, look, these kids didn't know what they were getting into. It was not so much what they were wearing, because that could have just been, I'm just trying to be cool and hip and being a rapper, blah, blah, blah. But it was what the party was kind of named, and that was a combination of the word, the N-word, with the white in front of it, and think about a hairdress you would wear. Okay, so you get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's not a good name. You do not want to have your kid associated with that name. But I don't know. These are fairly sheltered kids, I would assume, in San Francisco, who really may not have known what they were getting into.
Okay, but let me just ask the question here. There's a lot of white kids that dress like that anyways.
Right.
That identify with that and dress that way to begin with and are referred to by their compatriots at school by that particular name. So what is the difference between kids that dress that way as a way of life, white kids, and white kids that are dressing up like those kids?
I think the difference is you're talking about a private school, which can do pretty much whatever they want to do, and have the sanctions they want. I'm not sure I agree with these sanctions, because here's what: if these kids are in the realm of affluenza teens, really horrible kids that you just want to kick in the nose, then I get it. Then you punish them. But if they're really not at that level, if they're really just, pretty decent kids that kind of screwed up, then I would give them a second chance. I would have been, as a principal, I would have brought them in, and I would have read them the riot act and said, look at this. You brought shame to yourself, shame to the school, blah, blah, blah. Do you understand what you did? And if the kids are sitting there kind of numbly going, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I can't believe it, I'd give them a second chance. That's just me, though.
All right. Oh, we're out of time. All right.
Goodness.
I appreciate you calling in, Lise. You have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you next week.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
You take care. This free commercial for Cycle Parts brought to you by Lise Wheel and her latest book. He got himself a little bit of, definitely. He gets the ding time. Go down there and check out a bike. He has the zeros now. And if we're going to make this a commercial for him, we might as well just, do it right.
You gonna charge him?
I don't know. I don't know. Well, he didn't ask for it, so we can't bill him for something he didn't ask for.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay, so tax season is pretty much here. And the folks at Guarantee Chevrolet salute the hardworking people of the Valley. If you're one of those folks who have struggled since the recession and you need a break, Guarantee has an opportunity for you. Just like you've seen around town on the billboards, good people with bad credit are welcome at Guarantee. Their program is designed to help hardworking people who need a hand because of, a massive tax bill or because of credit cards or student loans or other financial setbacks. They can help you get into a car, a quality, safe, reliable car, or, vehicle, in 48 hours or less. And not only are you going to get a vehicle that's going to get you to work and where you need to go, but you're going to actually get your credit reestablished too. So if you're one of those folks and you need a safe winter driving rig, make sure that you head out to Guarantee Discount Chevrolet or call them. Robert Sloan is there, 541-998-2333. That's 541-998-2333. Guarantee Discount Chevrolet.
It's the latest wake-up call market news. This is the KPNW Business Report.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stocks are falling as banks are extending a sell-off in their worst two-day drop since August. A report today showed service industries expanded in January at the slowest pace in nearly 2 years. ExxonMobil is facing a downgrade. S&P says the collapse of crude prices has undermined oil companies' abilities to pay their debts. Exxon is one of 3 American companies with S&P's highest rating. For Exxon, a downgrade would be historic. It's been rated AAA by S&P since 1930. Toyota Motor Credit agreed to pay almost $20 million to compensate Black and Asian American people who may have been subject to racially discriminatory lending terms when they bought cars on credit from 2011 to this year. Cam Newton is using his Super Bowl run to establish himself as a pitchman to America's youngest consumers. Newton is wooing kids unlike other athletes chasing older fans. Among 13 to 17-year-olds, Newton is the most highly rated quarterback in 7 of 8 categories that matter to brands. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg.
Northwest Burger inside the 5th Street Market features burgers so amazing they're an experience all their own. Freshly ground meat and local produce combined with the creativity of local chef Garrett Kirsch makes for a burger experience like no other. You'll get mouth-watering goodness in every single bite. Check out their menu and photos on Facebook. Northwest Burger, located in the 5th Street Market. It's not just a burger, it's an experience.
I'm home, honey.
In the den.
Are you sick?
No. I'm rehearsing.
What?
It's almost flu season. We need a flu drill. I'm going first.
Oh, you are something.
Could you rub my feet, change the TV channel, and bring me some pistachios and a beer?
Jerry.
Use the ice-cold mug in the freezer.
There is no need for a flu drill.
This is going to be a bad flu season.
Yeah, but we're not going to get the flu.
Like you can prevent that. The goddess of good health, huh?
No, I'm the one who scheduled flu shots for all of us.
You nuts. If we get the actual flu shot, we'll get the flu.
That is an old wives' tale. They no longer use the live virus. It's synthetic. We get the shot, and we remember to wash our hands and take other precautions. And we stay healthy and help stop the spread of germs.
Well, you and the kids do it. I'm not getting any shots.
Okay, then you just stay by yourself in the treehouse.
Treehouse?
Yeah, until flu season's over.
Okay, just don't hide the ladder this year.
We'll see.
This message is brought to you by Ears, because the Eugene area radio stations believe that supporting a healthy community makes a strong community.
My dad came to live with us last month, and it's going pretty well. I feel like I never have time for myself. With him being around more, it really lets us catch up on things. His memory isn't what it used to be. We get up and we have coffee. He usually wakes up at 4:30. Then we go for a walk. He needs lots of my attention. I do need to keep an eye on his medications, though. That's important. Sometimes I feel like a pharmacist. I'd say John and the kids are adjusting pretty well. They honestly have no idea what I'm going through. It can be a little challenging. Help. But so far, so good. I could really use just a little help.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
KPNW weather with Chris Nation. Brought to you by Mattress Mania, where you save like crazy.
Good morning. If you're headed out that door in the next few minutes, or you're already out on those roads, we've got light rain off and on. We've got a storm system approaching the area. It's moving onto the coast now. We will see moderate to heavy showers by your lunchtime. Otherwise, right now, temps are in the upper 30s to low 40s under mostly cloudy skies and light winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. Now, the heaviest rain looks to be right between noon and about 2 p.m. as the system moves through with its cold front between 1/4 and 1/2 inch along the I-5 and maybe 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch along the coast. We'll also see the winds pick up out of the south at 15 to 20 with gusts up to 25 as the front moves through. Then this afternoon, the mostly cloudy skies continue with highs in the upper 40s to low 50s out there. We'll see winds shift down to the south at 10 to 15 after the system passes through. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the KMTR News Source 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
See a problem on the commute? Be an official KPNW Wake Up Call Road Ranger today. Call 541-344-2424 and report it. Dakota Ring and Road Ranger Keep and Sombrero sold separately. The Road Ranger Network, exclusively on 1120 KPNW.
Well, in case you haven't heard, we've got a big event that's going to be coming up. At least I think it's a big event. Wouldn't you say it's a big event?
I would say huge, epic, monstrous. So a week from tomorrow, we're talking about between 4 and I'll say 8,000 people. I mean, it's amazing how many people come to the Affair of the Heart a week from tomorrow, 4 p.m. We kick into it at the Lane Event Center.
And joining us to talk a little bit about, actually, he's one of our keynote speakers, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the topic he will go into in depth at 6:30. It's Dr. Joe Viramontes joining us on the Wake Up Call. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
It is our pleasure. Okay, so your specialty is what? You're kind of like a general and vascular surgeon, right? Yep. And you're with Summit Surgical Specialists. A vascular surgeon? What does that mean for folks that are like, well, isn't that like veins or something?
Well, but vascular surgery is basically an expertise in blood vessels, so repairing or removing blood vessels that are causing problems for patients.
Kind of important.
Yes.
What out of curiosity, you could have gone so many different routes in your medical career. What, at an early age or whenever, did you decide to go this way?
Well, I think that what really drew me to vascular surgery was that it deals with a lot of micro repairing of very small vessels that require a lot of detailed work. And I found myself with good hand skills, very good at that part of surgery in general.
So how do you find that out? Does somebody come up and say,
"Oh, nice hand skills, Joe.
You are pretty good with the hand," or do you just kind of know you're steady?
Well, so the path to vascular surgery, if you're heading towards that, you need to first do general surgery. And general surgery is basically a exposure to various fields within surgery, and amongst that is vascular surgery. So as people go through those trainings, they may be drawn to one specific specialty and then decide, like in my case, to do an additional 2 years of training in that specialty.
So was it something originally, though, you were passionate about?
Not really. I was really drawn to general surgery, and I enjoyed all aspects of general surgery, but then as I went through vascular surgery, just found myself in love with vascular surgery and what it had to offer my patients.
Right. And one of the things you deal with is apparently, and quite a bit, is varicose veins, right?
Yes.
What is varicose veins? And for folks that don't know, for folks that do know, because maybe they have them, what causes it?
Yep. So varicose veins are essentially faulty veins. They're veins that over time...
Factory rejects.
Correct.
They're seconds.
Yes, essentially. That over time basically become damaged and no longer function in the capacity that they were designed for. So veins in general are blood vessels that allow blood to return back to the heart to get more oxygen and nutrients. People get them because of various factors. Women are 2 to 3 times more likely to get varicose veins than men, for example, but people who smoke, who are overweight, who have sedentary jobs are much more prone to that. And the reason people get varicose veins is because we have valves inside of these veins that allow blood flow to return back to the heart, and those become damaged because of increased pressure. When that happens, that leads to these veins, typically in the leg, become dilated over time. A lot of blood sits there, and that really is what causes most symptoms, namely pain, itching, burning, swelling, etc.
And then when do you actually start seeing them, though?
Yeah. So most patients generally get referred by their family doctor. They usually will go to their family doctor and start noticing that their veins are becoming enlarged and that they have these associated symptoms that I just mentioned. And then they'll get referred to a vascular specialist like myself who deals with varicose veins. When we see these patients in the clinic, we really, the onus on us is to really confirm whether the symptoms are related to varicose vein or some other vascular disease. But assuming that it is varicose veins, then we start discussing some of the treatment options. And for most people, I always recommend a trial of a very conservative treatment using compression hose. Compression hose essentially augments what your body is trying to do already. If people continue to have symptoms despite the use of compression hose, then nowadays we have very good treatment options to remedy that, the vast majority of them which are done in the clinic. So they're no longer done in the hospital like they were 10 years ago.
So if you get the varicose, is it something that what percentage get these symptoms, are dangerous, unhealthy, and they should seek help?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. Well, I believe that varicose veins is a hugely undertreated problem. 40 million Americans, or 1 in 8, have this problem. And historically, I think that because there's been a lot of misinformation about varicose veins being cosmetic, many people did not get treatment. So those patients, I think, if they're being seen by perhaps a primary care doctor that's not very familiar with what the symptoms are, they may not get referred in a timely fashion. And so some of those patients will continue to have this chronic disease that over time can lead to very serious problems.
Like,
for example, ulcers. People don't know that varicose veins over time can eventually lead to ulcers or blood clots or inflammation or discoloration of the skin, thickening of the skin. These things are very serious and difficult problems to treat if it gets to that point.
Does insurance, you go to your insurance company because everything has to be okayed by them, before you can even have a hangnail removed. So you go to your insurance company and say, hey, look, I've got varicose veins. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to assume that the insurance company is going to say, oh, that's elective surgery. We're not going to cover that. Is that a fallacy on my part?
That's really changed, again, because historically they were felt to be cosmetic, but now that our understanding about varicose veins has changed, most people, if they are having symptoms, we can get it approved through our insurance. There is a process. For example, we do need to try a more conservative approach, like I mentioned, the compression hose. But if patients fail that therapy or can't wear compression hose, then most insurances will approve this procedure.
All right. Is it something, and you'll understand why I asked this question with the follow-up, is it something that runs in families? I mean, is it a genetic, okay, mom had varicose veins, grandma had varicose veins, am I going to have varicose veins?
Absolutely, and that is actually the strongest risk factor for varicose veins is a family history. So if your mom had varicose veins, you have a 50% likelihood of also developing varicose veins. Again, if your mom had varicose veins and you're a woman, then you're much more likely to have varicose veins in your lifetime.
Okay, so that leads to the follow-up to that, which is there something then, knowing that you have this proclivity, that you can do preventative to not end up with varicose veins?
Yes, and that would be basically identifying that you're at higher risk and begin wearing compression hose earlier on so that you don't ever develop them. For example, my mother has varicose veins. I don't have them as yet, but I do wear compression hose every day.
Can we see it?
And he was just showing me. Nice legs, by the way. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's basically the most important thing that you can do. Also, people who have jobs that require them to sit for long periods of time or stand for long periods of time are at increased risk. And the reason for that is that your calf is also known as the second heart pump. Actually is what drives this blood flow. It creates the pressure to drive blood flow back to the heart. So if you are sitting, that pump is not activated. There is more blood and pressure being built up in your leg, and that causes these valves to fail over time.
So okay, now I have a question, because I used to work with somebody who was a runner, very healthy, and yet he had them.
Yeah.
And now I want to say that he had some of those, because he had these kind of special socks, and so I'm wondering if that was what he was wearing. But he's in good shape, getting good circulation, movement. How did he come down with them?
So you have to wonder whether he does have a family history, but let's assume for a moment that he doesn't. The fact that he is exerting and is working his calf muscle more, and his veins are circulating a lot more because these patients are conditioned, that over time, wear and tear can also lead to faulty valves. So in my practice, about 5% of my patients are runners or people who are extremely active, who do notice that their legs are becoming much more heavier. They're not able to perform at the level that they were before, and so they seek treatment.
What exactly, pretty much what you've talked about today, anything else that you'll be talking about at the affair event?
Yeah, so my goal there is to really talk about what are the treatment options now, which we've come a long way, and to really dispel the myths that treatment requires some type of big procedure that has a lot of risks.
Very cool. And when will you be doing this? What time?
I believe 6:30.
6:30.
Yeah.
Oh, you're like one of the marquee kind of heavyweights.
So I've been told.
Yeah.
So you've been told. Wait a minute, I'm the headliner? Cool.
Doctor, thanks.
I need to buy a hat.
Thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Good information. I think, did you say 1 in 8?
1 in 8.
1 in 8 affected by the varicose. I'll put my name up.
Yeah.
Really? You have varicose veins?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Come see us.
Okay. One more time before you go.
Yeah. Hey, people sometimes run up against some pretty crummy things in their lives. I mean, we're just talking to Dr. Joe Viramontes, and, he's a surgeon. I'm sure he's probably seen this in the past where, somebody absolutely healthy and all of a sudden something health-wise happens and they go into a tailspin. It can happen to the best of folks, and sometimes that can put them at a financial risk. And then everything goes upside down, and then they're trying to work their way out of it, and the next thing they know, they need a car, and credit can be kind of hard to get. So, Guarantee Discount Chevrolet can help you out with the Good People, Bad Credit program. Doesn't make any difference whether it was potentially something like unforeseen medical bills or maybe student loans became due, a variety of setbacks. A lot of people had problems after 2008 and are still dealing with them. So anyway, they have the Good People, Bad Credit program there where they can help you get into a quality, safe, reliable vehicle and reestablish your credit. Call them at 541-998-2333, 541-998-2333, Guarantee Discount Chevrolet.
You know the Tannerite Sports Outlet carries Tannerite brand exploding targets, but Tannerite here in Eugene is so much more. Reloading supplies, tactical gear, magazines, accessories, and if you're worried about finding ammo, Tannerite has bulk quantities of the most popular calibers that'll keep you shooting affordably. Need it and can't find it? Tannerite staff is going to help you locate it, even if it's something they don't carry. Yes, Tannerite's the home for exploding targets, but from tactical gear to ammo, it's the Tannerite Sports Outlet, just off I-5 across from LCC. Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson.
And I'm Marcia Edwards of the Real Estate Today Show. We've been standing next to Mark Brockett of Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division. He is an amazing lender for residential loans.
He has an opportunity to take a look at your situation, identify, for instance, should you refinance? It could save you a lot of money for a number of years to come. Fantastic.
That's Mark Brockett. Call him today.
You can reach Mark Brockett at 541-431-0236. That's Willamette Valley Bank Home Loan Division at 315 Coburg Road.
18 incredible restaurants, 18 cheesy choices as the Kendall Auto Group and 1120 KPNW present the second annual Grilled Cheese Experience, a benefit for Food for Lane County. From February 1st to the 15th, visit as many of our restaurants as you can and taste their respective takes on the grilled cheese sandwich. Places like the Cornbread Cafe, Fisherman's Market, and the Vintage. $1 to $2 from each item sold will benefit Food for Lane County. Get info on the Cheesy Passport, plus a list of all our restaurants by going to kpnw.com.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take this time to breathe deeply and close your eyes. Right now, you're completely in control. Unlike the time you and your son played basketball and you attempted to slam dunk. Or when you tried removing those raccoons from the basement. Concentrate on the soothing sound of my voice. Release the memory of when you wrestled with that beehive in your son's treehouse. Let go of the time you thought that skunk was a cat, or when you pulled into the garage with your son's bike on top of the car. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Wildlife, boating, fishing, camping, and more. 43rd Annual Eugene Boat and Sportsman Show is back at the Lane County Fairgrounds Friday through Sunday, February 5th through the 7th. Get up close and personal with the Great Bear Show's 400-pound giants. Meet Gold Rush star Dakota Fred. Revel in Tough Shed's Ultimate Man Cave. See the hottest wake surfing boats, kayaks, SUPs, and accessories. Seven Feathers Big Game Room features record trophies and head and horns competition. See the latest products, hunting and fishing guides, ammo, giant fish tank, and more. For kids, there's the Pepsi Live Trout Pond, archery range, shooting gallery, climbing wall, and the zip line. Jody Smith and Dan Clore had an impressive list of speakers in the Sportsman's Theater. Enter to win a Gold Quest adventure with Dakota Fred, a guaranteed trailer, and Bimart door prizes. The first 100 adults will win a free scratcher from the Oregon Lottery. And every adult patron will get a subscription to Northwest Sportsman magazine. Take advantage of low show prices on all the latest model boats at Lane County's premier boat display and sale. All of this at the KUZI Boat and Sportsman Show, Lane County Fairgrounds, presented by Bimart, February 5th through the 7th. See you there.
News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Hi, this is Adam Rodriguez. Did you know that today 1 out of every 4 American kids is Hispanic? That means many of the future doctors, engineers, scientists, and entrepreneurs of our country can be your kids. We all know how hard it is for you to send them to college. This is why we want you to know you are not alone. Many support you, and the Hispanic Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. Learn more at hsf.net. Brought to you by the Hispanic Scholarship Fund and the Ad Council.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have the small bolognese.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk? Very funny.
Good morning. We're tracking a storm system moving into the area as I speak. Now, we've got light rain out there under mostly cloudy skies, winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. And we do have temps in the upper 30s to low 40s. The bulk of the energy looks to move through right during your lunch hour between noon and about 2 p.m. We're expecting anywhere between a quarter and a half inch along the I-5 corridor and a half inch to 3/4 of an inch along the coast. Winds will also jump to the south at 15 to 20, gusts up to 25. But once we see the system move through after lunch, we'll start to see the mostly cloudy skies continue. Highs will shoot into the upper 40s to low 50s, and the winds will come down out of the south at 10 to 15, maybe a few more gusts after that. We are tracking actually very nice weather for the end of your weekend into early next week as high pressure moves in, bringing us sunny skies and warm temps, but between now and then, a couple of storm systems. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Nation in the NBC 16 Weather Center, hoping you have a fantastic day.
Weather every 10 minutes during the wake-up call. Count on it. News Radio 1120, KPNW. With our eye on the stock tickers, this is the Wake Up Call Business Report on News Radio 1120, KPNW.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. The S&P lower on data on the services industries. A report showed service industries expanded in January at the slowest pace in nearly 2 years, raising the risk that persistent weakness in manufacturing is starting to spread to the rest of the economy. Services account for about 90% of the economy. Chipotle dropping in trading after telling investors that January sales plunged, and it received a subpoena expanding the scope of a federal criminal probe. There's investor concern that the company won't bounce back as quickly as hoped from a series of foodborne illness outbreaks. Yahoo says it will cut about 15% of the web portal's staff, shut some offices and units, and exit product lines. The company is also considering putting its core assets up for sale. Toyota will discontinue the Scion, the youth-targeted brand just entering its teen years. Sales have fallen to less than one-third their peak reached a decade ago. As of August, Scion models will be sold as Toyotas. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Weather every 10 Fox minutes News. during the wake-up call. Count on it. News Radio 1120 KPNW. On News Radio 1120 KPNW Eugene Springfield.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. President Obama now at a mosque in Baltimore. His first visit to one as president. Fox News Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
The White House says the visit is symbolic, aimed at defending religious freedom and a statement against bigotry. The president will speak about important contributions of Muslims to American society. Some Republicans have criticized the president for not linking recent deadly attacks like the one in Paris to radical Islamic terrorism. The president has refused to describe ISIS that way because he claims the term grants them a religious legitimacy they don't deserve. Lisa?
Thanks, John. The water crisis in Flint, Michigan lands on Capitol Hill.
They were local decisions made by a state emergency manager. The mayor of the city has no authority.
Michigan Congressman Dan Kildee at a House hearing saying the state should immediately pay to replace Flint's pipes. The state's top environmental regulator telling Congress all levels of government share the blame for mistakes made when the city's water supply source was switched, leading to lead contamination. British Airways will resume direct flights to Iran. Fox Radio's Simon Owen live in London.
Lisa, now the nuclear deal with Iran is in place. British Airways restoring a service which was suspended in 2012 amid instability in Iran. A year earlier, the British embassy had been ransacked. The airline saying the lifting of sanctions offers the chance for Iran to become a top tourist destination. BA promising daily flights from London to Tehran by the end of this year. Lisa?
Simon, former Congresswoman and gunshot survivor Gabby Giffords campaigning for Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire.
Speaking is difficult for me.
Adding she wants to say 2 words in January.
Madam
presents.
As candidates from both sides focus on next week's first primary, Rand Paul dropping out of the Republican race today. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Hey, parents of children with asthma, here's the Breathe Easies with another one of your favorite hits.
Don't smoke in the house. Don't smoke in the house. Don't smoke around the kids in the house. Don't smoke in the car. Don't smoke in the house. Don't break my heart with your secondhand smoke in the kids. It can trigger the asthma.
Preventing asthma attacks can be as simple as making your home and car smoke-free zones. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org. Up next, well, what do you know? The Breathe Easies with another hit song, Vacuum Up the Floor.
Vacuum up the floor. Vacuum up the floor. Yeah! Vacuum up the floor. The asthma trigger is no more. You gotta vacuum up the furniture and vacuum in the cracks because the dander and the dust can give kids asthma attacks.
Simple steps can help your kids breathe easier. Vacuum up the floor to keep your house free of dust, dander, and dust mites. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org. Brought to you by the EPA and the
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Deb Carson.
No Super Bowl 50 for Broncos rookie practice squad safety Ryan Murphy. He was sent home by the team after being questioned by police in a prostitution ring. Murphy was eventually released and not charged in the incident, but Coach Gary Kubiak said he thought it was best and would avoid a distraction by just having Murphy go home so the team wouldn't have to continually answer questions about the incident. The NFL did announce that Lady Gaga will sing the national anthem for Sunday's Super Bowl 50. Academy Award winner Marlee Matlin will perform the song in sign language. New York Daily News is reporting that quarterback Colin Kaepernick wants to join the Jets and is hoping the 49ers will either cut or trade him. Amir Khan will fight Canelo Alvarez on May 7th in Las Vegas for the WBC middleweight title in boxing. And last night the Lakers ended their 10-game skid. They beat the T-Wolves 119-115.
For thousands of local foster children, the nights can feel long and lonely when you're away from familiar faces and places.
I miss my sister. I miss my old school. I miss my room.
Even something as simple as a pair of warm pajamas can make the nights a little easier.
Sometimes I get scared. I can't sleep.
To help, Sleep Train is collecting pajamas for foster children big and small. Bring your gift of new pajamas, packaged socks, and underwear to any Sleep Train, and they'll be given to a local foster child in need. You can also donate online at sleeptrain.com.
Pajamas are like a hug.
On behalf of the foster kids in your neighborhood, Sleep Train thanks you.
Not everyone can be a foster parent, but anyone can help a foster child.
Help a local foster child by bringing your gift of new pajamas to Sleep Train. Donate at any Sleep Train store or online at sleeptrain.com today.
I'm Isaac Jackson at Jackson Jones Law Office. At our office, we represent people who have lost everything because of someone else's bad judgment. When someone takes something close to you, your health or a loved one, the right lawyer can help you walk through the stress, get the medical bills paid, and if needed, stand up and fight on your behalf. Our philosophy is simple. We start by meeting with you to give you a straightforward assessment of your case. Once that's done, we'll talk about what it means to hire a lawyer, whether it makes sense to try to get a settlement without a lawsuit, or whether we think it will take a fight. Our office specializes in wrongful death cases, accidents involving drunk drivers, and victims in violent car accidents. We want to help you move on, but if we need to, we will stand up and we'll fight for you. Call me, Isaac Jackson, at 541-556-9797. Let's have a conversation. At Jackson